Oh wait, it froze, dude. Oh no, never mind. It's right here.
Oh, there was right there. Hold on a second. Let me just do this file real quick. I was like, "What the heck's this speeder?" Like, oh, it's right here.
Well, oh shit, I forgot that. Technical difficulties here for a second. All right, let's go. I forgot one more thing. Okay, there we got it.
And we have all a bunch of problems. I thought y'all look for a
Everything,
theater in Hawaii.
everything is set. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the second episode of Late Night Podcasts. I hope you grab your popcorn, your soda, your snacks, anything you want to do. Or if you're on work right now and you're just hearing me, behold my voice. Welcome. I'm so happy to say that this episode is going to be about SoulCalibur because it's one of my favorite fighting games. It's top one, So I'm glad to talk about this topic because we don't hear a lot about this anymore ever since six just stopped being active. I'm not saying the game is dead, just saying, like it stopped development, But yeah, so first episode of Late Night Podcast was on talking about the multiplayer online battle arenas, aka MOBAs. If you're getting into this now, if you're getting into the MOBA industry, if you're starting to play any game right now, I suggest you see this episode. I interview one of the best MOBA coaches in Puerto Rico. So go back, watch that episode, and then come back on this one because we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about SoulCalibur itself. But before we start, I like to introduce the one and only that's always been here in the Night Casuals, yo. God Drifter, man. What's going on, man? Say hello.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. I am known as God Drifter. Basically, I do racing games, fighting games, and RPGs, hack and science, etc., for the most part. And I am in this podcast,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
Yeah, and I am too. um, but yeah, I'm like so excited to have you here, man, because like as a lot of people know, as our crew, Jethog, and then the whole crew that always joins in on Soul Calibur, we, not just you, but we are like super diehard fans of Soul Calibur itself. And we got our own opinion, we got our own ideas of why these things are not going the way Bandai Namco plans. Uh, and we're gonna talk about them tonight, because why not? We're bored and we want to do some stuff. Yeah, the whole thing started because we started talking a lot on Late Night Casuals about Soul Calibur, and I was like, we need to save this for now, for a podcast section, like so definitely. But yeah, look, so for the newcomers, like nobody just known about this game, and I just want to hear people talking about it right now. So, what is SoulCalibur? In our own words that we can explain, it's a fighting game, weapon fighting game mixed with Asian and European
Mhm.
Western style weapons. And just an amazing story, man. A lot of people confuse it with Tekken because it kind of has their similarities, and there is a Yoshimitsu in both games. But don't get it twisted; they're not.
Mhm.
I don't think they're meant to be canon. It's just a character here, the same character there, different concept. Okay, but you can say it's sort of like Tekken, but it resolves more on like input connections rather than input connections for chain combos, which we do have in Soul Calibur some chain combos, but like not as focused as Tekken. Like if you don't know your long ass moveset, you're not gonna do combos here. Here, it's all about whether certain movesets can be combined, and it's just an amazing experience from Soul Blade to now. It's just amazing. So how can you explain what is Soul Calibur to you, Drift?
In terms of Soul Calibur, to me, it's like this. Imagine this: you're in going to the arcade. You played Mortal Kombat
Ah,
4 all the
yes.
time, and then all of a sudden,
Boom in the
Mortal
corner.
Kombat 4 was right in the corner. You see a weapon-based fighting game that you never even heard of, like. And then you see Bandai Namco, and it's like, wait, aren't the guys that made Tekken? They actually made this. And then
Yep.
you ended up playing as the gruff samurai known as Mr. Rugi. And you ended
Yes.
up going up against a lot of fighters from all over the world. Like, for example, you got Taki, who's from the same same country. You got German's Seyfried. You got England's Ivy. You got Cervantes de Leon, who was the first boss from the very first
Mm-hmm.
Souls game.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, man, I can't stop playing it.
You
And
just can't. You just
and
can't.
then yeah, you just can't.
Like that
But to
happened to
me,
me.
it's
Yeah.
like
That happened to me too. Oh, sorry. Continue.
but to me, so Calibur is almost like Tekken, but old fashioned. Like instead of like light, heavy, and then kicks, you have your horizontal attack, you got your vertical attack, and then you have your kicks. And then you have then you have your throws. Basically, it's like a combination of a horizontal and then block, and then you got vertical and block for the most part. And then your kick and block is basically your taunts for the most part. And then in some way, shape, or form, you end up with like a combination of like this plus the 8-way run, which actually was introduced to the second Souls game, which is known as SoulCalibur.
Mm-hmm.
And the,
And it was
the
different
reason
now,
for that is
like that. Yep.
because of yeah, it's but the reason for that is because of like people actually complained about the movement for the most part, and they're like, why? And it's like, okay, it's hard to like block because every time you block at the very first game, you will lose your weapon, which is something that is not even heard of. But then again, another game did this before, and that was Samurai Showdown
Yep.
from the early '90s, to say the least.
Yeah, like Soul Calibur itself, it's a very beautiful game, and exactly just the way that you said it. That's I don't know if I cannot speak. I don't know if I will speak for everybody, but I can definitely say that that's how I found out about the game. Like I remember I was in a bowling alley, and this bowling alley was the best bowling alley in my life. It still is, and it will never be replaced. And you know, it had a bar, it had some shade, but when you enter, there's a Cyber Cycles arcade. I don't know if you remember that game. And then on the left of the Cyber Cycles, it's like a hallway, and it's like a reversed P of a layout for the facade of the room, and every corner was filled with arcades, and I just like, oh, this is heaven for me. This is pure heaven. And I was going one by one, right? And I love fighting games. I played Tekken. I think I played Tekken first. And all of a sudden, man, right across my left, I see Soul Calibur. And I'm like, I don't even know what it says because I'm a kid, right? So I'm not reading the title. It's all mixed. You know, Soul Calibur on Dreamcast is all like a mushed Soul Calibur. It's easy to read, but not for me because, you know, I'm not 100% sure what was it at first. You know, this is a first glance. And
Mhm.
I remember just putting the two tokens on it because I see fighting games with weapons. Like, you don't see that back then. You don't even see it now.
Mhm.
You know, I think Samurai Showdown, it's basically, yeah, a good similarity because it's basically, even though it's not the same, I understand, please don't attack me, but visually,
Don't attack me, please.
at first glance, is Samurai Showdown is like Street Fighter but with weapons. You know what I'm talking about? At first glance, I know there's a
Mhm.
difference, but so going back to Soul Calibur, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this shit, right? I'm seeing Soul Calibur. I
Mhm.
don't never know how about this game, and then I pick, of course, Yoshimitsu because I when I was a kid, I picked the most crazy character. Like for me, it was Voldo and Yoshimitsu. And I started playing the
Mhm.
way that Voldo played. I enjoyed it so much. I was like, dude, this game is amazing. And I thought it was like the big deal because I used to finish the game really quickly and shit. And it was because I was just spamming the spinning kick of Yoshimitsu that it's instant ring outs. And that's another thing that I like about when I said, like, there's ring. It's a ring and then you fight. It reminded me of Virtual Fighter. Which has a similarity with the ring outs, right? But of course, this one is like falling out with much more frames, way better. And then I'm like, dude, if you compare this to Tekken 2, this is, dude. I'm sorry for my Tekken fans, but SoulCalibur, even Soul Blade itself, had better quality than Tekken. I'm sorry, at least on frames, dude, insane. Like the story, though, I kind of admit for me was more interesting in Tekken, but I came that from consoles, right? I saw this on console in arcades. I never seen SoulCalibur in, in consoles, right? We do have consoles, but back then, I didn't know there was a Soul Blade on PlayStation 1 because that was not my first game. So when I see this game, I'm just playing and fighting, and dude, for some reason, there's something about it that I just couldn't get enough. Not even SoulCalibur 6 could top that. I could say that nostalgic reasons when it comes to arcade, SoulCalibur is by far for me the on point. When I think about arcade fighting games when I was a kid, SoulCalibur 1 will come to mind. And again, because at that age, at that era, it was revolutionary. A weapon fighting game, 60 frames per second, no delaying. It was just beautiful. Nightmare in there, all these characters, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then when you fight in the final boss, Inferno, and I fell in love with it. Just cannot stop playing. I remember spending all my money on this stuff. I sometimes had to control myself and say, yo, let's play other games. Don't stick with one because I don't, my dad is. It's not 100% sure my dad is gonna give me another $5 or $10, right? But yeah, like.
And then next thing you come back to the arcade. God.
Yeah, God damn it, Tim.
Yeah, for me, I think when I discovered SoulCalibur, I was with my dad, and we went to see the first Avatar movie, and it was in this theater at Paramount, and I discovered SoulCalibur because it was like one of the only things I never even heard of, and it looked awesome. I was like, man, I want to see if I can actually be my dad in this game. And I picked Mizurugi, my dad picked Edgemaster, and I'm just I went full on throws, and then
and that's very good though. That's very cool because it's like father and son bonding. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get that sort of bond too much with my dad when it comes to fighting arcade games. I did though with Tekken 2. But again, like my father was not like a huge gamer like I am. He did enjoy his the video games, but not like as much as I did. So he did show me a lot of stuff. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's really cool for you to actually play SoulCalibur with your father. That's really cool. That's very emotional and everything. And I did this. It happened to me, but not with SoulCalibur. It happened with Tekken. I remember I was mad because my uncle was speaking martial law, and he was just kicking my ass, and I got furious, bro, like furious. And my uncle doesn't give a shit, bro. If he beats me and he mocks me, and I'm a kid, he was just straight on. I was like, oh shit, why are you mad? And I'm like, dude, I was seriously mad, like really pissed off, like not playing. I was pissed off, and I was saying, this time I'm gonna get you. Lost. This time I'm gonna get you, and lost. And they were laughing their ass off, and I was like, like super mad. Like and the way that they calmed me down was when we left, right when we stopped playing. I was in my uncle's house, and then the one that was with me was not his house. Like my dad has two brothers, so three of them were there. We were visiting one of my uncles, and then he had a PlayStation system, right? So he gave it to me before I left. He gave me the Tekken 2 game physically, and that's when I felt happy because I was like, okay, when I get home, I'm gonna train and then beat your ass. Yeah, so that's really emotional, man. So what would you say? So okay, we kind of answer our own question here, but what was your first SoulCalibur game? You can just answer me with one if it's the one that we talked about before. And if it's not, then, okay, get to details. But answer me this question. Was it the one that you played with your father? That was the first one?
No, that was like my first time playing SoulCalibur. The first time I owned SoulCalibur,
I was going to switch it up to own, exactly.
It was 2011, and I was still 11 years old. And this was before I ended up getting like spacers on my teeth, and I ended up going going to my local GameStop, and I asked for SoulCalibur 3, and I bought SoulCalibur 3 for like $12. It was on the PS2, and it wasn't. It was like it was. And funny enough, it was on a it was in a Hollywood video esque type case, and yeah, Soul Calibur 3 was actually legit my first Soul Calibur
Soul
game.
Calibur 3?
And yeah, Soul Calibur 3 was
Awesome,
like legit
dude.
my first Soul Calibur game.
And dude, honestly, that's a really good start. I mean, you're gonna be a little bit lost with the story, but still, you're like when it comes to like playing a lot, if you want a game to play
I
a
remember
lot,
this clearly.
yeah,
I
like,
remember this very clearly. And
you were gonna spend hours in that game, hours.
Legit hours. I end up playing that game much more than Need for Speed Underground, and even Underground 2, which
Dude,
was
and drifting is your thing, so that's saying something, right? Because you would rather play a racing game, but no, like Soul Calibur just shut me off. I'm playing this shit for like weeks and weeks and weeks. It was like, hey, do you unlock the new Nissan? Fuck no, I just unlocked Abyss, bro. That was a glory for me. Like when I and I was like, oh shit, I unlocked the best. I thought it was not playable. Oh my god. That was beautiful, bro. Beautiful memories.
My goodness. I remember this clearly too. And I was like, okay, and then like after like because keep in mind this is like when I was like I was like elementary, going to middle school. I ended up like went to the dentist to get my spacers, and then ended up going to my local GameStop, going and buy Excalibur 3 for the PS2 for like $12, because that was like the closest thing I could actually get to like the PS4 kind of thing, which is basically like Excalibur 4. Because around that time I didn't have a PS3. I like kid you not, I had a Nintendo Wii, and I didn't even bother like playing Soul. I played Smash Bros. As well as Need Speed Nitro, which was like a cartoon-esque type racing game. And the funny thing is, I played the Wii a lot more than my PS2, and it was like, and it's because of like, for the most part, it was pretty interesting to say the least. I ended up like playing the Wii more, and then ended up like playing the PS2 again because I was like legit full on board. I was like, you know what? I want to actually play something else, and then end up playing Excalibur 3 again. And dear Lord, and the thing that got me into liking Excalibur is not just the content; it was the character creations. I kid you not.
Definitely.
I have spent many hours in character creation.
That was basically the character creation debut. We're gonna talk about Soul Calibur 3 later, but yeah, continue. Mm-hmm. That's where it all started. That was the creation.
Yeah, it all started because I went to like create my own characters, and the weapons were cool. I kid you not, I remember creating a ninja, which I was like, okay, yeah, this is actually a cool niche, because I based it off of one of my Halloween costumes when I was a kid. But unfortunately, they didn't have something like that, and I'm gonna pick Dancer, because Dancer sounds cool. He's like break dance, like nah. And it turns out it was the style that uses tambourines. And I'm like,
what the hell?
No, I picked the
wrong class. Yeah, because you were imagining something like because that's the thing. Like Soul Calibur 3 classes, we're gonna get more into detail with that, but the pictures, they don't show you the exact weapon. It's just some random thing that will base him. Sorry, and. When I saw Dancer, I saw a guitar, like a sitar or something, and I was like, "Oh, dude!" So I thought it was gonna be a guitar throwing melodies, like Demix from Kingdom Hearts 2, and I was just gonna be like, "Oh, this is some kind of awesome shit."
It's water dance.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be that. It would, and trust me, I think it would have been better. But no, it was just tambourines and a weird dance, and I was like, nah, that's not me, bro. I'm sorry, and I had to sacrifice it because he has Voldo, so I had to actually force myself to play a dancer, and I was like, I'm not liking this at all. But yeah, we'll get more into details for Soul Calibur 3. So your first game was Soul Calibur 3. Honestly, I thought it was going to be 2. I thought you were going to say 2 because that's where basically most people started with.
Soul Calibur 2 was my third game. Yeah.
Okay.
Soul Calibur 2 was my first Soul Calibur game I actually
Yeah.
owned. It was 3, then 4, then 2, then 5. Believe it or not. And then
And then 4-3, and then 4-1 Blade and whatever
I
emulated.
didn't get Scalper 1 nor Soul Blade.
It's
Like what
hard because again, they're console exclusive. If you don't have PlayStation 1 or a Dreamcast, it's hard to play unless you get the
I had a
arcade somewhere.
PlayStation 1. It was just that I didn't get Soul Blade or Soul Edge, whichever you
Okay.
prefer, or
Okay, yeah.
Soul
Neither did I.
Calibur.
I didn't know they were. Here's the thing. I did play them in arcade when I was a kid, but I didn't know there were a
Mhm.
console version of Soul Calibur 1 and Soul Blade. You know, so sadly, that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna mention that in like future topic. But for now, let's keep back to this one. So my first Soul Calibur game to own for me was Soul Calibur 2. Now I think I played Soul Calibur 2 on arcade before getting it on PlayStation 2. Uh,
This is a really good question. Which version though? Because the Calibur 2 has the exclusive
Oh,
guest character.
yeah, I'll get to that. I was getting to that. Okay, so
Okay.
like Soul Calibur 2 was the first console that I ever like of Soul Calibur that I actually ever owned. Even though I think I did played it on arcade and everything, and did the whole 1 and then 2, and then if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was Soul Calibur 10 because when I was a kid, I didn't keep track of story in order. Like I thought Crash
Mm.
Bandicoot 1 was the fifth game because in my head I was like the game that I get is new because I never seen it.
Mhm.
So I get Crash 3, I thought that was the first Crash. Crash 2, of course it says 2, so I know it's going to be 2, that's obvious. And then Crash 1, I thought it was the fifth one because Crash 3 for me was the third Crash game for me was Team Racing, and then Bash was 4, and then Crash Bandicoot 1 was 5. So that was my mentality in when I was a kid with games. And Soul Blade, I did actually played it on another bowling alley that had it, and I think that was like this is kind of like Soul Calibur but different. And I did enjoy it, but of course, like not like the other ones. And I thought it was Soul Calibur 10 or 5 because it had like an X.
Mm.
I thought it was so it was a Soul Blade X or something like that. I'm just making shit up in my head when I was a kid, but
All you make is thinking the swords as a number. Okay,
yeah,
that
because
would have been
I
a
was
lot more
mistaken. Yeah, because well, sorry, I didn't like. If you see right here, it's gonna appear soon enough in the video. When we see Soul Blade, like the World Soul Blade, you see an X. You saw that with
Mhm.
Cervantes swords.
Yep.
And I thought that was an X, claiming it was Soul Calibur 10 or some shit like that. Soul Edge 10, Soul Blade 10, whatever. Or it was like a standalone, like a spin-off or something. So when I got home, when I went to like EB Games back then, it was electronic boutiques. GameStop wasn't a big thing there in my country. GameStop came after when they fused. For me, it
Mm.
was EB Games, electronic boutique, before they changed to EB. So I enter there, and I'm just looking at the games, that's always, and then I see it. I see Soul Calibur 2, and I'm like, fucking A. One of my favorite fighting games in arcade is in consoles. And then I see the guest character, which I will reveal right now, and well, soon. And then I just said to my dad, "Dad, can I get it?" And then sure, yeah, I bought it, and I started playing it on home. Now, of course, y'all know me. I've always been a Sony guy, and I, of course, had the PlayStation 2 version, which had the guest character Heihachi. Now, what am I talking about here?
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about this a little bit more when we get to that topic, because I want to talk each individual Soul Calibur game and then like give our opinion of it. But Soul Calibur 2 they were on 3 consoles: Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation. And PlayStation 2 had Heihachi, GameCube had Link from Zelda, and then the Xbox had Spawn, which is my favorite guest character for there. And then of course we get Necrid in all of the consoles because Todd McFarlane. Shame, because it would be nice to see him again. Anyways, so yeah, that's basically my first console that I ever game that I ever got for, and then after that came Soul Calibur 3, of course. And when I saw that, I freaked out because it's been days, months, years since I, seen a new Soul Calibur. When I saw Soul Calibur 3, like the work 3, I was like, Mom, I need this now, like definitely now. Like, and
Mhm.
dude, I've played the hell out of it. I stayed hours, like over 6 or 7, 10 hours, just constantly just finishing the stories over and over. Because again, there's a lot of replayability in 3, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a good question that I wanted to ask for me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And for the audience, by the way, guys, anything that you want to answer that we give our opinion to us. I know this is recorded, not live. Sorry about that. Just comment down below anything you want, and trust me, I'm gonna read it. I'm a started YouTuber. We read comments. And we reply. When I get to $1 million subscribers, I'm sorry, I can't do it. There's a lot of it. I'm just kidding. All right, so in your thoughts, right? Because I think this is a little bit irrelevant, and I think there is a statistic opinion, but I don't know which one to believe, right? But I'll believe my own based on my thoughts. In what SoulCalibur universe, in your thoughts, not SoulCalibur universe game, my bad. What SoulCalibur game for you was the one that actually made SoulCalibur famous? Because again, we had Tekken on top every single time.
Question.
So what do you think that what is the game that said, you know what, this is the game that actually everybody just went on it? And for me, before you answer, I'm gonna give mine. Even though I hate to admit this because I love 3 a lot, it's not 3. I think it was 2. Because since it expanded after being on Dreamcast and PlayStation only, and it went multiple platforms, I think that's the best answer I could give. SoulCalibur 2. What do you think?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
If that to, I would say it's a tie between the GameCube version of SoulCalibur 2 because it has Link, and then you have SoulCalibur 4 overall because it has the Star Wars characters. Plus, it also has Starkiller from the Force Unleashed, and it also has Darth Vader for the PS3 and Yoda for the Xbox 360.
The Apprentice was just insane. By the way, if you never bought SoulCalibur and you're afraid, and like let's say you're a retro gamer and you don't know newcomers or something, if you want to play the Star Wars characters and they're guest characters in SoulCalibur 4, but don't be afraid. I don't know if you can still do this now, or I don't know if they became free because it's dead. The game is dead, right? The PlayStation 3 gets Darth Vader, and then Xbox gets Yoda, but you can get Yoda on the PlayStation 3. You just got to buy it on the PlayStation
And you
Store.
can get Darth Vader for the Xbox 360.
Yeah, and vice versa. You know, instead of you get it for free if you buy it on if the console comes with it, and the opposite version of the console will come into the store so you can buy it to make it fair. And that's actually good because again, PlayStation 2 didn't have that power of PlayStation Store, so PlayStation 2 got stuck with, hey, you know, we cannot do this anymore. That's why in 3 it's not. It is on bonus characters a little bit, but not like a focus character, because they were afraid of separating the audience. You know, because there were a lot of sales on GameCube because you get to fight with Link. And that is saying something. Even me, that I'm not a Zelda lover, right? But you get to fight as Link, and then in Spawn for SoulCalibur on Xbox, which is amazing seeing Spawn on a fighting game, and then Heihachi, which was supposed to be Cloud, but mid change at the end. And we got Heihachi, which is still not bad. Heihachi, and with actually a canon story, by the way. SoulCalibur 2 Heihachi is canon. But yeah, actually, you know what? I think what you're saying is true. SoulCalibur 4 could have hyped up the franchise just because of the guest characters for the Star Wars. But I think, like, I also speak with 2. This is the reason why I chose 2. The reason I chose 2, it was because SoulCalibur 2 actually was known from everybody, since, again, it was on multiple platforms. This is the first time it goes multi-platform. It was never on any different platforms. Like, you cannot get SoulCalibur 1 on the PlayStation 1 unless you're emulating the PlayStation 1 with a Dreamcast emulator inside it, because it was only exclusively for Dreamcast. Same with Soul Blade, it was exclusively for PlayStation 1. So SoulCalibur 2 was the one who spread, you know? Let's give it to Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation. And, you know... And that's where a lot of people join in, because finally, I don't have a PlayStation, but I got a GameCube, but I don't got an Xbox either, so I'm just going to jump in. Same with the Xbox and same with the PlayStation. I didn't have a GameCube, but I got SoulCalibur 2. All of them got SoulCalibur 2. So that's why I think SoulCalibur 2 could have been the one that actually, made SoulCalibur known to the world. I think what we can say here is that SoulCalibur 2 made it much more known, and then
Mm-hmm.
SoulCalibur 4 hyped it up more.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the first SoulCalibur on the new console, the PlayStation 3, right? Boom, all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, because we never got a. Yeah,
PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
yeah.
And you got Star Wars, which most people will love Star Wars in a
Yeah.
fighting game.
And here's the thing, dude. This is actually proven, and of course, it's obviously true. But I want to point it out there because this is amazing what a character can do. Because there's people who actually bought Soul Calibur 6 just because Geralt was in the game from Witcher. There's
Mm-hmm.
people who bought the game for real. They started they never played, never didn't know Soul Calibur ever. This is the first one because Tubi was in there. Their first Soul Calibur was Soul Calibur 5 because Ezio from Assassin's Creed, which is again cool, amazing guest character. These characters, the DLC characters, brings people to the game. That's why, of course, that's why they do it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Soul Calibur is a little bit weak when it comes to the franchise itself, but it's not the worst of the worst. Trust me, I've seen other games that have not been touched by anybody. Like, this fan base is big. Don't get me wrong; it does go over the millions. But there's even a Discord for Florida. There's a Florida Caliber. By the way, shout out to the Florida Caliber crew for keeping it alive, right? And that's why I think Soul Calibur 2 put that in the table, because not just the guest characters from Star Wars, because a lot of people love Star Wars, but also because these characters that are in each specific console, they're really famous. People love Tekken. People love Zelda, like especially Zelda. Everybody talks about Zelda. Like, you can put a pyramid in Soul Calibur 2, and Soul Calibur at GameCube is going to be the highest, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. No matter what. And why? Why? Because of Link. So that's saying something, right? So I believe what you're saying about the Star Wars character. Yeah, like the Star Wars characters just hyped up that game even more. Even though it wasn't the best, but it was good. There was just some things that should have been fixed better. Well, now that we're going to talk
Which
about.
we'll explain later.
Yeah, we're gonna explain. Actually, we're gonna talk about it now, but not that. We're gonna be in order. We're gonna do it in order. Let's talk. Okay, so now we're gonna go. So 2 and 4. Let's say it's, in our opinion, one of the biggest Soul Calibur games when it comes to hyping people up. Not the best when it comes to story. Not the best when it comes to gameplay. Not the best when it comes to looks. But it's there to say, hey, Soul Calibur exists. And dude, by far, believe me, there's people to this day who don't know what Soul Calibur is, and that hurts me a little bit. But or maybe they know, but they never got it into it. It's like me, for example. If you're an Under Night expert, whatever fan, you're gonna hate me because I don't know shit about the story, bro. I only tried it once with SharePlay. That's it. So let's go ahead and let's do something really fun for you guys, and we're gonna just to length up the podcast episode, because so far we've been going through this faster than I thought. But this is gonna be the long one. We're gonna talk about every single Soul Calibur game that we known and seen, and it's been. Even if we haven't played it, we're still gonna give our first glance opinion, right? Let's say if we give it like the first one that we're gonna talk about is gonna be Soul Edge, or Soul Blade, right? And
Which you prefer?
which so Soul Blade is the first one. This is where it all started. Everything began from Soul Blade itself. The fighting game of the century that actually brought everything, just like, this is it. Right? As you can see here in the picture, we got Soul Edge instead of Soul Blade. The reason for that is because Soul Blade got for US, the name, and then it changed for Soul Edge on, I think it was Europe, UK, and Japan. Both of them. I'm not sure. But at least for UK, it was different, right? So, and this, for me, in my opinion, this way makes more sense. Because we're talking about Soul Edge, not Soul Blade. We're talking about Soul Edge, like the evil sword. And then we get to the good sword, which is Soul Calibur, right? So, yeah. Let's say this game, for me, didn't hype me up as much as I thought. But again, full disclosure, I did not play this game when I was well, I did play the game when I was a kid, but I didn't know what it was. I was just, okay, it's just another Soul Calibur, but with a different name. It's just another franchise, right? It's the same game, but it's like a spin-off. It's like the Cooler movie for Dragon Ball. And I did play it enough. Trust me on that. I did play it enough, and I just don't remember it too much. And then when I got it on PlayStation 1, like, because I'm doing a playable collection hunting, yeah, like, a lot of stuff came back from me, and I had fun. Now, this game, in my opinion, is not bad, but I have to put it in the top list of the 8. Like, for me, this is top 8. Right? There's 8 games, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like 8 games. Wait, see, 8 to 10 games to say the least.
Yeah, let's say, like, it's the, like, lowest bottom of the list. It goes for this one, but it's not because it's bad. It's just that, of course, the other ones were a lot better, and this had a lot of cool stuff that actually they didn't bring it back for other Soul Calibur games. The stage were fine. There were actually stages that I said to myself, my console is gonna explode, but it didn't. So by being the first, yeah, like the river moving part, you thought that was Soul Calibur 3 first level. No, there's actually a part like that in Soul Blade, and like a moving raft in the water. And I was like, the frames dropped a little bit, and I'm like, okay, my console is gonna die for real.
I was like, man, my console is dying because this one stage.
Dude, I was like, shit. And the game is a little bit heavier, slower, but it's still actually faster than Tekken 1. Tekken 2 was faster. I'll give you that. And the ring outs were there and everything, but there was actually really cool one thing that I like about this game. And it was that it didn't they were trying to see what worked, right? I think this is some sort of test. They had a feature where if a character beats you up, like, badly, with then handing up with a heavy brutality punch or some shit like that, it will throw off your weapons. You know about that? Like, the weapons will fall to the floor, and you will fight.
I think this was like 2 years ago when I told you about this. The fact that if you keep on blocking, then you'll lose your weapon, and you have to, like, rely on your fists.
Okay, no, I thought it was gonna be like a huge heavy hit to then drop the weapons. No, so it's basically a guard punish, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. So yeah, like, it was a guard punish. So that was insane, dude. So yeah, characters were fine, not the best of the best, of course. We're introduced to Siegfried, young Siegfried, as you can see here.
Very young Siegfried.
Very young Siegfried indeed. So I don't know where it takes place. We introduced to Rock for the first time, of course, because it's the first game. There's no Astaroth. Astaroth comes in Soul Calibur. And yeah,
we were introduced to Rock, though, which is probably one of the more barbarian-esque type characters.
Yeah, it's basically similar, but they have their differences. Don't get it wrong. And of course, here we have the first final boss of Soul Calibur, which is Cervantes. Of course, he is a playable character in here, but of course he's the final boss in here, which turned into Inferno after. And then Soul Calibur and onward, Soul Calibur 1 and everything, he became a playable character, just not the final boss. I don't remember this character. Who the fuck is this character? This is the second skin. This is the second skin. This is Cervantes' alternate skin, my bad. And then we'll introduce to Mitsurugi, yes, young Mitsurugi. Li Long, which
in every single game.
Every single game, indeed. He's an icon, bro. He's in the cover of Soul Calibur 6. Of course, he has to be there. We got Li Long. Maxi was not there yet. He was like the same, but with like 2 nunchucks instead of... No, it was just only 1, but with like chain blades on it. Yes, you can see right here.
Taki was also introduced.
Yeah, this is the
Sophia was introduced.
Taki, Sophia, yeah. And these are the stages, and as you can see, like, they're not for a PlayStation 1 game. They're spot on. And the squares that you will see, it's always the arena. By the way, there was no flooring or anything, water to simulate, like that was back then. People didn't care much about that. As we can see there, that's a bottomless pit, but it was seemed a gradient of color to make it look like it's a grass floor. Since you're not going there, because that will be a ring out, right? They didn't mind as much working on it, because again, the more you spend on background, the less you have for focus. So yeah, these are the stages right here. Pretty cool looking one. This one is the one that I'm talking about, the raft one. This one scared me a lot. the frame rates just dropped there insane. I was like, shit, it's gonna fuck my console, bro. Like it was just
Like
insane.
my
I never
console's
seen
got
this
a
one though.
fry. It's like what in the
Yeah,
what's happening?
well, yeah, like thank God, and it didn't make any sounds, which impressed me a lot, right? But yeah, this not a bad game, not a bad game. I would give this one, I will give this one a 7. You know, a
Uh,
7, 7 out
I've
of
been going
10.
by tiers for the most part. And I gotta say it's C tier. It's not bad. It's not good,
C
but it's
tier.
just like right in the middle.
It's
It's
okay. Yeah, it's okay. Let's give it a 6, above average. Yeah.
yeah.
So, what do you what can you tell me about the game? What did you like? What did you not like about the Soul Blade itself?
I to be honest, I have not played Soul Blade nor Soul Edge. So I often go by what I remember in the first SoulCalibur game. It's cool. It's not as bad
Basically,
as many
okay,
people think
my
it is.
bad.
It's
Like even though you haven't played it, but like at first glance, you've seen videos on YouTube, bet right? So,
mhm.
like, what can you say? Like when you see this stuff, like, what is your verdict on it?
I say like it's very like old fashioned. Like we're talking, there were knights, pirates, ninjas, aristocrats. What else was there? There was also Greek warriors who actually still preached to their gods, and basically it was actually one of many times where the story actually continues on in terms of like every single game the story continues. And this is actually the first time we ever have seen literally a teenager wielding a big old sword. It came like this was like I think it was like right after Final Fantasy made the blonde dude was big sword cliche type of thing for the most part.
That's
Well, a
true
thing.
though. That's true though. Yeah, when like we got long sword first. Got long sword first.
Mm-hmm. And the characters I actually do like the weapon variety. Like we got nunchucks, we got um
Agree.
yeah nunchucks, we got big swords, we got kodachi, we got sword and shield. We
Yep.
even have some obscure ones like katars, which are like gauntlets, but they're like chakrams as well, and as well as even something that's not even heard like a hyubdo, which is a Korean polearm, which that's also when Selmina was introduced to Soul Calibur. And it
Yep.
was actually it's not just that, but it was our first Korean fighter to say the least, also, as
That's
well
true.
as Hwag.
Yeah.
Um, and it was actually one of the it's actually is this one thing I like about the game is the fact they actually also have third costumes, and these third costumes are
Yeah.
basically based off of like people designing the costumes for the
Yeah,
characters.
dude, and that's saying a lot. That's a lot of love
Mm-hmm.
coming from Namco. Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm. In terms of what I didn't like about the game, it was the fact that it was actually just before the 8-way run thing for the most part, which it was needed to say the least because of what's that called? How sluggish you actually like move, and especially if you're like trying to like get out of the way of unblockable attacks,
Mm-hmm.
and heck, even throws can actually be a pain to actually
Yep. To pull
get
off.
out of the
Yeah.
way of.
Yeah. Get out of the way of.
Um,
Which
Same thing with
most of the games usually like that. But yeah,
mhm.
I agree completely. Here was much more harder compared to the other Soul Calibur
Yeah,
games.
I was about to get to that. The game was a lot harder, especially if you're like very new to the to Namco's like second money making channel for the most part. I gotta say something about like their money making methods because they're like, oh yeah, we got Tekken, and then I was like, oh, we have Soul Calibur. It's like,
Yeah, man,
But,
this was a huge popping generation, man. Like,
mhm.
I really did enjoy Soul Blade, even though I didn't get to play it when it actually came out, because again, I started off with Soul Calibur 1, but I knew what it was from the get go. I just said to myself, okay, this is Soul Calibur, but with a different name, so it could be a sequel, or it could have been a spin off, like something added, like another story, but in between everything, like an anthology, like Final Fantasy. Um, but like when
Kind of
I
like Shin Megami Tensei and
yeah,
Persona. This like,
when I got to play it, it was now actually. I never well, I mean, apart from the arcade, but when I got it on PlayStation 1, it was like right now my age, living here in this apartment. Recently, I think I got it like a couple of years ago. I think it was last year or 2 years ago that I got it on console. And because I got like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 5 for its damage, but I don't need it, goes backwards. And then I have a Dreamcast and I have a Switch. I think those are all of my
mhm.
consoles and PC, of course. But like, when I started playing it here, I'm like, okay, you know what? This is not as fun as I thought it would be, but it's still fun. So it would be like, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe back then when I played it, I had more fun to it. But of course, if you're gonna compare Soul Blade to Soul Calibur, definitely Soul Calibur is gonna be in. Which is going to be the second game that we're gonna be talking about here is Soul Calibur 1 for the Dreamcast and arcade. If you spot this bad boy up in Florida, let me know because I've been dying to play it on arcades. So yes, let's talk about Soul Calibur. So I'm gonna. I started off with Soul Blade. I'm gonna let you start off with Soul Calibur 1. So explain, talk about it. Your thoughts. What do you like? What do you dislike? The whole deal.
So Calibur was actually my legit first time playing the actual like game for the most
Yep.
part.
Yep. Me too.
And I was clueless on how the game worked for the most part, and I was just doing throws left and right, and then I didn't realize it was like
Slamming the you thought it was the shit,
um
man. I'm the shit, and you're just pressing like I just found out this most revolutionary thing in the world. I
it's
press
called
two
a pro.
buttons. I press two buttons at the same time, and it throws off like a fucking wrestling match. I'm the beast, and then you get your ass whipped by combos, and you're like, oh,
No, actually, he's like, I almost got like, I almost got the entire arcade ladder by just using throws, and then I got beat by Inferno. And yeah, this is actually one of those games where they're not shy to actually age up the characters. Like
and they
this
did
was
age up. They
yeah
did age up.
like how like when it's like the first game was like, oh, this is the beginning, and then they didn't change they didn't change their age until like 4 games in. So Calibur did it in their second game. That's basically how usually this works. Like, because you know how like Siegfried was 15 in in Soul Blade. So in Soul Calibur, Siegfried's 20. He is a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
And then
like from Soul Blade to Soul Calibur, a lot of time passed. Just like from 4 to 5.
mhm. And then you have like Mizurugi, who also aged up. He actually has a beard now. Taki actually has a different mask now. It's basically it was cool as heck. It was then we are introduced to like newer characters and heck, the new characters have really obscure weapons. Like you got Ivy with a full on whip sword, and not gonna lie, she puts whipping in that sword whip. Get your mind out together, people. Anyways, um, we also had we have Astaroth, who was actually the first ever character who was big as heck. Like we're talking, this dude was easily more than 6 feet tall. Like we're like I
Yeah, it
think
was
he's
insane
6'8".
big. Bigger
He
than
was
Rock.
six
Bigger than
eight.
Rock,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
bigger than Rock. And um, we also were introduced to Keelik, who would be the protagonist, or so
Of
one
Soul
of
Calibur, yep.
yeah, of SoulCalibur. Same thing with Xianghua, who actually was
The
one of the
trio,
main,
yeah, and
yeah,
Maxi too.
basically the trio. Yeah. Um, we were also
Right.
introduced to uh, I think it was actually one of the more obscure, not one like obscure games, but I actually did like the stages as well. Especially when you fought, especially when if you fought Siegfried, you are fighting in this like cathedral, not cathedral, but it was like a castle of some kind, and it would be like, okay, this actually looks pretty cool. I'm actually going
Yeah,
full on
dude.
like
Dude, the stages
go
in
ham in this
one,
mess.
stages in Soul
Yeah.
Calibur 1 were so pretty. Even though
Mm-hmm.
it still had that low graph, but man, it jumped. Like you can tell. Here, let me do a parenthesis and you can continue. Here, you can tell this is the perfect example of the power of the PlayStation 1, Soul Blade, and Dreamcast, Soul Calibur.
That is true. That is true.
So
Um,
PlayStation lost. Let's put it. PlayStation won. Based on the marketing because Dreamcast was not very known, and it flopped because of that, in my opinion. But
mhm.
Dreamcast was way better than PlayStation when it comes to quality, at least, and revolution. All right, sorry, continue.
uh, but yeah, what I liked about the game is not just the characters, but they also have like basically they have like a story mode of some kind. I did like how they designed the characters as well. Like with Siegfried, he had short hair and doesn't have a random scar on his eye, but now he's a 20-year old
Yeah, with long
fighting
hair,
so yeah, with long hair with
represent.
a scar in his eye, and then he has his altered ego, which is Nightmare, who
Yeah,
is
like dude, it
a lot
changed.
more. Yeah,
He
he's
changed a
more.
lot.
hmm Like he is like I think one of the channels actually compared Siegfried to Guts from the Berserk series, where where basically the time he aged, he actually gone through a lot. He led a he basically led a group of thieves basically, and it turns out that Seyfried killed his dad, and he ended up looking for Soul Edge, and that because he's like, okay, I going to find Soul Edge and make it better. And then unfortunately, most people forgot that Soul Edge is actually a full-on evil sword.
Yeah,
And then he became Nightmare. And basically, every time Segri sleeps, Nightmare wakes up
Nightmare
and
wakes up,
literally
and lo
and
and
causes
behold,
havoc.
that's the origin of the name Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Right
Mm-hmm.
now,
Nice.
of course, people will say, "Oh, but wouldn't it be better if Siegfried was named Dream?" So I don't know. I like Siegfried way more than Dream, so don't even think about that.
My goodness.
But yeah,
Um,
yeah. What else can you say about? Okay, so let's say, what else can you say about like gameplay? What do you think that it should have stayed
gameplay,
when it comes to Soul
gameplay
Blade
improved.
mechanics, like
Mm-hmm.
characters? What do you like about Soul Calibur 1 that improved from Soul Blade?
In terms of the gameplay actually improved. It
Well,
was
way
actually one
better.
of the first, way better. Like we're talking, this was the first game to introduce the 8-way run
Yes,
system,
yes.
which
Here's the thing, like, bro,
mm-hmm,
for real, Soul Calibur 1 to this day, if you bought this, get a Dreamcast and play this fucking shit, because you can tell, like, it's like a PlayStation 2 potato mode. Like, we're talking about that much of a damage. I don't think PlayStation 1 would have the power to make Soul Calibur 1. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I think that it was meant for Dreamcast because look at this beauty. And we're not talking about, like, oh no, like a little bit of improvement like Harry Potter 1 from 2 on the PlayStation 1. No, hell fucking no. Dude, amazing improvement. Like, everything changed, bro. This is a
mm-hmm.
whole new level. A whole new level. Sorry.
Let's see I think we're correctly. The game. Let's see. The game was a little bit like not. It is not as hard, but it's still a hard game. If you're not like trying to cheesy type of the game that is. Um,
Hey, every anime is cheesy. Just ignore it.
but yeah, it's actually is one of the many games that I will like. Case not, will legit recommend to people who
Yep.
actually are into like retro 3D
Yep.
type
That
games.
is on my list.
Uh, but in terms of like, if I had to give it a tier, I would say it is. between B tier and A tier, to say the least. It's one of those two because if you play either or, I wouldn't mind it, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's between B tier and A tier, to say the least.
So
So
it did a lot of improvements. It did a lot of like revolutionary. It was very revolutionary for what the time it came for. It was way ahead of its time. So Calibur was for me very beautiful. When you see it now, you're like, dude, this game really came out this age, like this year,
hmm
that year that Google says, and yeah, it did. And trust me, I understand your surprise because again, this is just one way of telling you that the passion was there. Let's just make it a fucking better game than Soul Blade, and lo and behold, boom, and there it was with tons of new characters. We're talking tons. We're not talking 2 or 3 new characters, like now. No, 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 no. We're talking about like 5 or 6 more. You know what I'm talking about? Like, just keep going,
hmm
bro. Just keep it going. Like, we got Yun Sung is in this one, right? If I'm not mistaken, either that or on 2.
No, Huang was still
Well,
there.
Swan was still there.
Youngsung didn't
Okay,
come
yeah.
out till Huang didn't come out till two.
But I think the
Um,
roster was bigger. I think the roster.
yeah,
See this, I still have to like unlock all the characters that I'm working on,
mhm,
my past live stream. But yeah, like it made a lot of improvements. I think the fighting was more faster, less heavier, much more combo oriented because it was so hard to pull up stunts in Soul Blade since that was not basically the focus. I think Soul Blade we could all see it as an experiment to see what
mhm.
works and what didn't. So then work on a big gun. It was like the pilot. It's like a pilot episode to the full series that we know and love right now. Because you don't see a Soul Edge anywhere. It's always Soul Calibur from now on. You know, characters that were actually replaced. We got Arthur in this one instead of Mr. Rugi, right?
Oh, Arthur was, I think, it was exclusive to the Korean
Version. Okay. So
yeah, the Korean
Mitsurugi was
version of
still in this
the
one, but then Arthur
yeah.
came into the Korean version, which actually we do see an Easter egg on Soul Calibur 6 Libra of Souls, which was kind of cool seeing that, very emotionally nostalgic. But yeah, like so this game made me happy and still does. I can say that this is one of the best Soul Calibur games you can put on a top list. I will give it to number 2 or number 1 because again, the power, the maze, it wowed me when I was recently playing it because I was like, dude, I don't remember Soul Calibur being this good, and it just is, like the other ones made improvement, of course, way better in a way, but when it comes to seeing the graphics, the frames, and everything, like even it runs so good, so perfectly. Like of course there's limit because it's starting, but bro, insanity, insanity. We
Mhm,
get we get introduced to new. Ivy is new, as you told me,
mhm.
right? Ivy
Yeah,
is
Ivy is
new,
new, Estroth
which
is new, Maxi's new.
we found out she's the daughter of Cervantes, and we've seen this beautiful lady, and everybody's just drooling over her. No, there's no more tacky, no more. Even though she's in here, no more tacky. Anybody who doesn't give a shit about tacky anymore, it's Ivy now. She's the mama. She's the one who actually the diva of Soul Calibur right now, and it will always be her. No character has topped her, man. She's very
And she
attractive.
would be occasionally in basically in most people wouldn't even notice until like they look at her bio, and she is one of the oldest women in video game history. Like we're
Yep,
talking,
because
this woman came in at 28.
I
She
think
is older than
the
Sadie.
malfestation keeps her young or some shit like that. The blood, malfested blood, or some shit.
Her cursed blood stops her age at 32,
Yeah,
and then when you get to Suhaver 5, she'll be around in her 40s, and she'll look like she's still in her like late 20s, early 30s, but she'll be in that specific age.
damn. Imagine. No, the story is beautiful. Ivy Valentine, one of my favorite
Wait,
stories in
no,
Soul
no, my bad,
Calibur.
my bad, my bad. Hold on. Second oldest women because
Oh, well, yeah, we
because
got.
Chun Li from Street Fighter.
Well, let's put it in
I,
Soul Calibur universe then. At
yeah,
least.
that's in Calibur history.
Yeah. Best one of the best stories in the game. I love the relationship rivalry between the father Cervantes because she doesn't want this, you know, but she's using it to get to her father and just battle it all out. One of my favorite cool scenes in SoulCalibur 3 is the intro when they're fighting on the boat. I always say that that's one of the perfect moments in the intro of SoulCalibur 3. And yeah, Ivy Valentine, just a new character. Killick comes in, the protagonist. We get to see a lot of cool story from him too. He's like the like the Shin Megami Tensei from no not Shin Megami Tensei. I'm sorry, my bad.
He's
He's the
protagonist for Persona.
he's the Inuyasha of SoulCalibur.
Yeah, basically.
The whole trio, the whole manifestation control man, Xianghua. She's the just kidding girl. I hate her. She is in her combo. I hate her. God, but she's cute. She's the Xiaoyu of SoulCalibur. Let's put it that way. Very childish, being very Goku-ish, but at the same time, passion and love for people. We get to introduce to Lizard Man, right? In this one, Aeon.
Yeah, Lizard Man came in from the first Soul Calibur game, and I was like, wait, hold on, there's a lizard person in here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, this character got a lot of changes throughout the series, and we get why, because again it was Sword and Shield, so we had three Sword and Shield characters, even though they play differently. But you know, when it's similar, Soul Calibur does a lot of that. But again, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You cannot just put it as a third costume for Sophia or Cassandra. Yoshimitsu comes in again, right? Because I think it was in Soul Blade 2, or wasn't he in Soul Blade 2? I don't remember.
He was in Soul Blade, and then he came in Soul Calibur, to say the least. That's one thing I know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like basically,
yeah, like there's a lot of characters, a lot of cool stuff. Look at this design. Look at the story. Look at look at Astaroth. Like new characters, a bunch of new characters. It's like we're recreating the whole series now. But to our Soul Blade fans, we're keeping this shit canon, and that's beautiful, man. From Namco coming in, like look at this concept art. Look at Inferno, dude. Look at the final boss, dude. It's menacing as hell. When I saw this as a kid, I was like, I don't know how the fuck am I gonna beat this guy. You know, when I did, I felt great, felt powerful. The story is there. The power of Soul Calibur is there. That's where it all began. And basically, look at the famous sword with the bat wings and the eye. That's the famous, which is actually kept to Shanhua in future games. But yeah, Cervantes comes back in. For people who did enjoy them, they thought it was not going to come back because he died. No, man, they said to themselves, let's bring this up to the top. Let's
make him a freaking wraith. It's basically
like full on. All the bots, stop doing everything else. Let's fucking go at it. Put all the coats we can to the Dreamcast and make this shit happen. Look, okay, this is the quality. As you can see right here, these are the stages of the game, and you can see the quality. Look at this. Look at this shit. This is PlayStation 2, bro. This is right. Look at this casino, like pagoda shit. This is not old quality shit. Like, look at this. Look at the cave. Look at the cave. This is mid-weight level. This is PlayStation 2 lower res or some shit. Look at this. This PlayStation 1 cannot do this.
I forgot one more character they were introduced. It was Edgemaster,
Edgemaster, yeah. Basically the big guy, the coach of Killick, right? If I'm not mistaken.
And he is the first ever random character to use basically everyone's weapon, which also include the women's weapons, obviously. So you have basically every single match he would be in a different fighting style. Like this is a really good example. Like say, like for example, he was using Seyfried's weapon, and then the next round he'll use Shanggua's weapon. It will basically rotate their outfits.
This is the first time we get introduced to the random character as playable, because again the final boss, well, not in Soul Blade, because Inferno always used Cervantes, if I'm not mistaken. Cervantes, Inferno in Cervantes. So that was the whole mix. It was like an ogre shit. So the Edgemaster is, as you can say, a random character. This is where we get introduced to random characters in fighting game. Random characters, as you explained, first round, first serve, and then the next one is just different. and it will come. It will keep changing. Now, the challenge of an Edgemaster character in SoulCalibur is that you got to know at least a little bit of everything to actually have a character like that. So when you get a weapon that you're not familiar with, you will be familiar with. You know, like that's the challenge. If you don't know how to use Xianghua and Edgemaster in the random course, the roulette, it guess Xianghua, you're gonna have a bad time. So it's like a dice roll to see, like, risking to see if you're gonna win or not versus a match, of course. But again, like press front white vertical kick, you can still get it. I'm talking about like if you want to master a combo and have an easier fight, of course, because the AI in this game is not really the best of the best, of course, because we're talking about like old computer AI, which is not bad, but again,
Mm-hmm.
like look at this stage right here. We're seeing here the Ivy Valentine stage, if I'm not mistaken, and look at this beauty, bro, for a Dreamcast game. Look at this, man. Look at this, like underwater pagoda. Look at this one. This level is basically like remade on most of the games. The Taki level. This is
Mm-hmm.
kind of the one from SoulCalibur 3. I think SoulCalibur 3, as when I saw this actually, yeah, like when I played SoulCalibur 3 and then went to play this one, I was like, man, SoulCalibur 3 took a lot from the original SoulCalibur, because there's a lot of levels that actually resemble. Like, look at this. This is Maxi's level. This is Baldo's level, but instead of like gold and a bridge, it's like a little bit different, And this is basically the Elysium level when you're fighting Elysium in SoulCalibur 5. It kinda, you know what I'm talking about. So we do get some
Mm-hmm.
resemblance references from the old games on the new ones, which is okay. Look at this, the Geralt stage. This is Geralt's stage before Geralt was even
Oh my god.
introduced. Oh my god, dude! Wait till you see the recorded version, man. You're gonna laugh. It looks like it does, bro. It does look like Geralt's stage. Oh my god. But yeah, like this is just beautiful, man. Look at this. Even the slideshow is longer than Soul Blade. That because they have to capture all this gorgeousness, you know. But yeah, Soul Calibur for me, it's one of the best Soul Caliburs, and I recommend get an emulator because I know like Dreamcasts are not that, they're not cheap, but they're not expensive. They're kind of in between. Still, buying a new console, getting into the new console, Dreamcasts are not the best when it comes to laser readers. They get damaged a lot, so I recommend just go for an emulation, and trust me, it will run the same way as a normal Dreamcast. But if you're like a fanatic, like true fanatic like me, like you just want the physical stuff, you do whatever you want to do. So, final verdict: what can you give to this game, to Soul Calibur 1?
Like I said, it'll be it's between B tier and A tier for the most part. If you put like in, if you put in like either A or B, I would not be mad because obviously it's basically the first game that
Mm-hmm.
actually improved on the thing. Because usually, you know how like in movies where it's like, okay, if there's a sequel, then it's gonna be bad. It'll be like worse than the first movie, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind. And there are some rare occasions where the sequel is so good they actually end up making another game. So yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those moments where in true sequel fashion, they aged up the characters. They end up adding new characters to it. Some of the characters were replaced, but they would also be like staples to the actual franchise in general, to say the least. And so, yeah, it will be like and not to mention the gameplay improved a lot. Like, it would introduce us to the 8-way run. It will also introduce us to basically basically a full on like challenge mode, to say the least. I can't remember, but overall, I would say it is A/B tier type
Yeah.
of
Mm-hmm.
type of thing for the most part.
Yeah. And again, I could give this a 10 out of 10 for the in the aspect of what it was back then. Of course, now there's better technology, better gameplay, and it's always going to be beaten. But to what it was in its time, like it was a masterpiece. It was just glorious. Actually, I think it got more hype than Tekken at a moment. And I will go for a B, to not say the least, when it comes to like being respectfully
Mm-hmm.
critiqued, and just go for points. I will give this a 9 out of 10. personally. 8 out of 10. So we're going to until 8 and 9. BA. Yeah, like definitely a must play. You can skip Soul Blade. Trust me, go to this one. You're not missing that much either. If you're a story fanatic, then yes, go through if you want to just curious and play it. Soul Blade is a game that must be played. It's not bad, but compared to this one, I recommend all the time, without pause, without thinking. SoulCalibur 1 would be the one and only on the classic era. Now, yeah. So that's Soul Blade and SoulCalibur. Now let's go to everybody's favorite. Sadly, I wish it was the third one, but I get it.
AKA the game that
SC2.
introduced us to the three most famous thing about it, which is the guest characters.
The guest characters. All right, transcending history and the world. A tale of souls and sores.
And guest characters eternally retold.
Guest characters retold. Yeah, so this is everybody talks about this one. Nobody cares about any single one of them but this one. Everybody's just going new for the SoulCalibur 6, but they say 2, they'll be like, oh yes, that was the one with Link on it, right? This is the most talked, most famous SoulCalibur game in history of SoulCalibur. SoulCalibur 2. Again, this made a bigger jump than the first one and just ramped up everything. They had the money, the power. Of course, they got a lot of it from SoulCalibur 1 and Soul Blade. We got to make a game for the PlayStation 2, and lo and behold, SoulCalibur 2 was released with the upcoming new trend for the SoulCalibur franchise, the guest characters. Now, what are guest characters, you may ask, for non-gamers? Guest characters are characters that are not from the SoulCalibur universe coming into the SoulCalibur universe. A little bit obvious. It's basically like a crossover, like Sentai and Power Rangers mixed in an episode, something like that, right? It's a crossover. Family Matters goes to Family Full House, so kind of like that, but from other games, So, but in this one, it was kind of cool because they say it was a cool concept, but I don't believe it worked for me because when it comes to financial marketing, or like it divided the audience, because again, they decided this time, let's go multi-platform and let's give a guest character to that specific platform. So consoles, only the consoles, not the arcade. The arcade is different. We got for the guest characters in the arcade, not the arcade, god dang it, the Xbox. We got Spawn, yes, the one and only Spawn from Todd McFarlane. It was a really good looking character with like fast pace no cape though, but it was fine. No guns either, of course. They don't want, maybe I don't know what's gonna fit with the SoulCalibur universe, but it did have magic powers and an axe, so it kind of fit in a way, and it was really quick, man, for a Spawn game that I've seen throughout the games. Like he's even quicker than Mortal Kombat 11. But yeah, SoulCalibur 2 did that with the Xbox, with the PlayStation. I'll get into that later. And then again with the GameCube, which I think this is the most I can say the most played. Yeah, the most bought and played SoulCalibur 2, because in the GameCube version, a lot of people don't. But like a lot of Mario players, Nintendo players don't like to go to the PlayStation 2 and Xbox because, let's say it this way, ignore me, but just in a way that you can understand for a person who's thinking of business, Nintendo is for the little boys and the PlayStation is for the big boys. Like more mature games, more blood and gory games, more scary games. And don't get me wrong, Nintendo had its mature stuff, but not like PlayStation and Xbox. That's what I meant about like big boys and little boys. So somebody who is not ever familiar with SoulCalibur sees SoulCalibur 2 for the GameCube, maybe played it in an arcade, and finally can play it in a console. And good for you, you got a surprise guest, Link from Zelda. Princess of Zelda, yes, Link himself is a playable character in the game. Now that for me is cool. I don't know about you, Drift, because like if you think about it, we're talking an RPG character that never had a fighting game appearance comes first into
Smash Brothers.
Yeah, apart from Smash Brothers, but that's a brawler. It's a fighting game, yes, but I separate it and put it as a brawler. Just like Multiverses, Nick All-Star Brawl. For me, those are brawlers, fighting games, but it's like a sub-fighting game genre for me. Still, yeah, you were right. But apart from Smash, we have a 3D fighting game, weapon fighting game, Link. You know what I'm talking about? This is huge. Especially for Nintendo, bro. Nintendo was going to get every single console of Zelda was going to be bought there, man. Not console, game. And it was beautiful in a way, but again, for me, I'm not interested in Zelda. I respect it as it is, but nobody can tell me please play a Zelda game, because I'm not. The only one that I will give a chance is Twilight Princess, because I had a best friend in high school, yeah, you can say it, in school, that always talk about Twilight Princess, and and I saw the gameplay, and it actually looks cool. But other than that, the other games, not my thing. Too green. I don't know, man. It's too green. Anyways, but that's just me. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Just saying. But seeing it in SoulCalibur, it still impressed me. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I never expect Link from Zelda coming into a fighting game. That's a really interesting thing. And then now when coming to the PlayStation era, this is the mid section. I think if we're gonna go on a scale, the lowest bot, in my opinion, maybe, or less talked about. I don't know. I haven't seen the sales. But I think it will go for the middle route. It will be PlayStation, and then the lowest one would have been Xbox with Spawn. Now with PlayStation, it was interesting because PlayStation already had this, right? We got Soul Blade, and now we're getting SoulCalibur 2, right? Thank God we didn't get one for the PlayStation 1, but it's okay. We got SoulCalibur 2 on the PlayStation 2. Now get this. There was planning, and everything was settled that Cloud from Final Fantasy VII was going to be in SoulCalibur 2. Sadly, we're talking about, this is no joke, this actually really did happen. Mid-section of before signing, they had to make a stop. We're talking, this is the paper. No, wait, hang on. Something happened here. No, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, we can't do it. And when I heard that story,
what are we doing? Like,
I swear to God, that's how it happened. Before it was released to the public, everything was made. Everything was just ready to go. So it was starting development, and it was going to be in the game. And no, we didn't get him. It hurt me here. And I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, but I do like Cloud as a character. And it would have been amazing because everybody's been dying to see Cloud and SoulCalibur. Now, of course, yes, you can say, but you have Siegfried, dude. It's the same shit. No, it is not. Because Cloud is a different way of fighting. And you can bring a fast-paced longsword character, faster than Nightmare, faster than the Siegfried. And yeah, a lot of people have created him already in SoulCalibur 4, 3, 5, and 6. All of SoulCalibur's in Broken Destiny, they have made a Cloud, definitely. Because again, that's the character that everybody's been looking for. Especially after Advent Children. They were getting a lot of hype with Cloud when the movie came out. I remember that. And it's sad to see that not happen, but I wasn't sad about this because I didn't know. But when I heard about it, I was like, I would prefer Cloud, being honest, to what we got. But I don't mind what we got. I think it was still a cool idea because it's good. I'm going to mention this in a while, and this is why. SoulCalibur brought on PlayStation 2, the guest character that actually came in was Heihachi Mishima from Tekken. Now you're gonna say to me, what? Tekken? It's a SoulCalibur. But Heihachi doesn't have any weapons. What, does he have a sword? Does he have a stick? And no,
he has gauntlets.
Gauntlets.
Well,
they're not really the weapons.
They're wristbands. That's basically what it is. They're full on.
But again, I think this was more for the ability purpose, to add features to him. But he was using his full-on fist. This is the first ever character that uses fist in SoulCalibur. And no, we're not counting the drop weapon. We're talking as a main weapon, fist. Fist and kicks. In SoulCalibur 2 was Heihachi. That was the first ever fist on, not weapons, nothing at all, just boom boom, kick punch in SoulCalibur history. Of course, then we got Double G on SoulCalibur 5, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so SoulCalibur 2 did a lot of improvements. We got Hayashi Mishima. We also got an extra character for all the consoles, if I'm not mistaken. We got an original idea created by Todd McFarlane himself. We got our characters, Necrit. I think in the slideshow we might show it. Necrit was basically just a monster unknown. Nobody knows where he came from, but he had a really unique weapon style, kind of like Algol, but like much more faster. And it was not magic. It was an orb that he was carrying, and this orb changed into the weapon of the original characters, which is cool. You know, it was badass, and the way that Necrit played, it was just insane. Todd McFarlane did an amazing creation. Unfortunately, Necrit is a character licensed by Todd. So again, it's hard. Maybe it's possible if he says yes, but it's unlikely we are gonna get this character again. And it was a very cool, interesting character, you know. But again, SoulCalibur 2 brought back the favorites: Selmina, Siegfried, SoulCalibur, Taki with better boobs. hey, I'm not saying that the game is
forever known as
dude, like for real, dude, for real. Like I used to stare at this when I was a kid for a long ass time. I'm sorry. I'm not afraid of saying it because you know what? You did it too, so shut the fuck up. Anyways, so yeah, we got Taki back. You know, everybody's Li Long is gone, sadly, and Huang is gone, unfortunately. But we got cool replacement. We got Maxi and Yun Sun. Now, Maxi is one of the best friends of. He's a pirate. He's one of the best friends of Kilik and Shanghua. And I think did we get Maxi in one? SoulCalibur 1?
We have Maxi in 1. Huang was the only one that didn't
return.
No,
my bad. Yeah,
he returned as Li Long. He returned as assassin, but Li Long was replaced with Maxi.
Li Long was replaced in Blade from Blade 1, my bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Boldo is back, better than ever, trust me on that. I love the third costume in this game, by the way. Sophitia is back again, but this time we got Ivy back with bigger boobs. Like I had a friend of mine that he said to me, hey, you know, I realized something. And then I'm like, what? In every SoulCalibur game, have you ever noticed that the more games we get, the bigger the boobs of Ivy are? Look into it. And then I was like, nah. I checked
Wait
1,
a second.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It gets bigger every single number. And I was like, holy fucking shit, this guy is saying the truth, man. And I was like, dude, don't fuck with me, bro. Don't ruin her for me. Because actually it's not ruining it, but you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to sexualize everything to 100%. But yeah, we got Ivy back. Ivy Valentine is back again. Beautiful than ever. Killick, of course, with amazing costume. I love that jacket coat. I love it. He's training by the hands of Edgemaster still, right? But he does not appear in this game, though. We do get a new random, though. We'll see it in a second. We got Shanghua. Yoshimitsu is back with cool outfits. Nightmare. Let's put a stop here. Nightmare's best look, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody. Nightmare SoulCalibur 2.
This is also the first time that we don't get Siegfried in.
Oh yeah. There's no Siegfried. Yeah, there's no Siegfried. Yeah. I forgot about that because I think in this story they merge already. So basically, yeah. But Nightmare here, by the way, is one of my favorite looking Nightmare. Look at this stuff. The long red hair, that helmet with the horns, that arm, that armor color, eyes on the armor plate, the fucking soul edge sword. Dude.
And a pet crow.
Beautiful skin, and nobody can tell me otherwise. It doesn't compete with neither of all the SoulCalibur skins that Nightmare has had. This is by far the best SoulCalibur armor yet. Comment down below which one is your favorite, by the way. But yeah, look at this, bro. Look at this shit. This is fucking amazing. Yeah, let's see. Asteroid
and we
back.
also have, not to mention, we have new characters, to say the least. Raphael, Talon, Yongsung, Cassandra.
Right here is Talon.
Okay.
No. Like I'm just showing the pictures while you talk. Oh yeah, again, the Sophia sister comes in,
Mm-hmm.
which is really it's kind of cool because we in this game we get Sophia, but she's locked. We got to unlock her. Yet the new one is already unlocked for us. Well, we gotta get introduced by. So I'm guessing, you know, people that don't read the manuals be like, "Oh shit, you know, Sophia's not here," and then boom, you unlock her, and you're like, "Yay, she's here." But yeah, Cassandra is like a faster, more cockier and stronger version of Sophia. Very hyper, much more aggressive. Sophia's much more tactic. Even
Mm-hmm.
though Sophia has damage like hell, but you
And
know,
she is the third sword and shield fighter in the entirety of the series.
yep.
And this was before we got into the sword and shield style for Scobbers 3, which we will talk about later. This
Yeah.
is
So this is the new character that came in with the new random character, and by far one of my favorites. I used to pick him a lot in the arcade because look at this character. This screams a lot. Something that I would pick. And don't get me wrong, if you're a kid and you see this, you will pick this stuff. Like if you're like me, if you're a metalhead, this is gonna be your thing. I used to love ever since I was a kid. I used to love everything dark and scary, and even though it scared me, but I did like it. You know, I used to wear a lot of skeleton stuff, anyways. But yeah, when I saw this, we got the newest. Well, not the newest, the new random character since Edgemaster is gone. We got Charade. Now, Charade is an entity. I don't know where the fuck he's coming from. I never read the story, but he's a random mimic character who mimics other people's weapon. Of course, every round is a different weapon style, and it's basically like a golem monster, and the
Mhm.
heart is basically what's controlling that golem's position to make that humanoid monster, right? And all that you hear from Charade is tuk 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 tuk. That's his voice line. And it's fucked up creepy versus Charade. Tuk, 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 tuk. And the eye looks at the character that you're fighting as, so it's like he's always like this, looking at the right side, and you can barely see him because you know he's looking at it. It's a really good design, one of my favorite SoulCalibur characters. But yeah, like it's beautiful. We got Young Sung, which is one's replacement ish, because we do get a different playstyle here, but
Mhm.
the difference is that it's like a Cassandra version of one. So it's basically one is Sophia, Cassandra is Young Soon. We got a hyper,
Mhm.
much more aggressive, faster version. Not to mention his fucking long ass invisible sword. An extra mode. He had like okay. I'll get to that later. But yeah, like tons of other characters that came in. Here are the stages. And as you can see, dude, don't get me wrong. Maybe just by a little bit of enhancement, but this is Dreamcast level. This is SoulCalibur 1 on PlayStation 2. The levels, look at this levels designs. They're exactly like the SoulCalibur 1 game when it comes to quality textures. Just a little bit amped up, right? Because it's PlayStation 2. We get it. But that's how the power of fucking, like SoulCalibur 1 had. Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just beautiful. Look at all the stages, man. This is just amazing. Now, yeah, this is the final stage when you fight Inferno. Yeah, this is Yunsung level. The Coliseum when you practice. And this is the Valdo level, like a spiderweb cage. This is the Egyptian level, which actually this was a cool level. It had like a bunch of designs, like moving sand and ice, slippery ice, which I think this is actually the first time they do this in Soul Calibur.
It's like a gimmick type arena where it's like, okay, on one variant of the level you will find people on ice, and then the other variant will be like, oh, you can't, well, if you touch lava you lose damage over time. And then there's like one where it's like, you get damage if you hit them with the wall, as well as basically you find a shorter version of the exact same arena, which makes ring outs more likely. And not to mention, it's also one of the first ever Soulcalibur games that brought back another mode that was from Soul Blade, which was the Weapon Master mode,
Oh yes,
which it
yeah,
would unlock a lot more weapons, to say the least. And each weapon it's actually also the first time where we actually get gimmicks
stats
on said weapon. Like,
and
because we have
stats.
like
Wait, no,
one of which
no, no.
would be Wait, no, actually, no, my bad. It was also they also brought back the gimmick weapons to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah. No sense
Um,
gimmicks.
like for example, there's let's see, and everyone actually has like a SoulCalibur or a Soul Edge of some kind, where it will drain your character's health, but
Yeah.
you will actually get like more, or basically your attacks deal
Yeah,
extra damage.
that's the soulish weapon and the Soul
Mm-hmm.
Calibur version weapon. Basically, in Soul Calibur 2, I don't know when you finish the game or buy it on the store. If there is a store, I think there was a store on Weapon Master.
There was a store weapon massive mode, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know
Uh,
if you get them there or not. But when you actually unlock the soulish, it will say soulish on every single character. Now it's not the. It's basically the same sword, taking the shape of the character's perfect ability, which is their main weapon, of course, right? So it will not change it to the sword. They will not grab the sword. They will just grab the sword in their own versions of the weapon. So let's say Taki has two, like blades, Chinese blades or whatever.
Kodachi, basically.
Yeah, the Kodachi. So Soulish version will be like a demonic version of those blades, and the
Mhm.
Soulish, however, is a really cool concept because these weapon hats, like, oh, with this one you have more range. You can do easy guard breaks, like break the guards. When you're fighting, doing heavy attacks. There were a lot of stats to it. There was one sword, which is the famous invisible sword of Young Soon,
It has
where
rage.
where he, that you
That
see the sword,
rage.
the Arabian sword that he had, right? Like
Mhm.
the swinging sword. I always call it the Aladdin sword. I'm sorry if I'm being racist. I'm not trying to. I just don't know the name. I think it's like a skip,
It's a scimitar.
scimitar or
It's a.
whatever. Yeah,
Mhm.
that blade, he has that, and there's a blade that he has that's just a handle, and you're like, the fuck. But when you swing it, you see the
It's
waves
a
of the swing.
wrong blade.
Bro, we're talking about half of the screen. They even have to nerf it because they bring it back in the third one. We'll get to that later. But
Oh
they
my
actually nerfed the
god.
range and everything because it was too overpowered. Even though it's an offline game, doesn't matter really. But still, like, let's not make it easier. Like, much more easier than it already is. And the Soul Edge, however, everybody had one, right? An old version of the weapons, but in Soul Edge version was like a demonic version. And
Mhm.
even though it was the highest damage weapon in all of the weapon lists that you get,
It drains your health.
it drains your health. So it's like a little bit of a sacrifice you got to do. Hey, if you want to use Soul Edge weapon, make sure that you finish the match quickly as possible,
Mhm.
because you're getting hit and the health's still draining. You know what I'm talking about? So it's
Mhm.
dangerous. And then you got Soul Calibur, which it was not the highest damage weapon, but it gives you
Oh, it heals
health.
you.
It heals you while you're fighting. So we're talking about like mid health, and then all of a sudden it goes like this. Not too fast, not too slow, like a mid range speed, which is fair. But again, there were a lot of weapons who had better range. That I think it would be better if you used the other ones. But if you want to fool around, there was also the silly weapons, which it was like a sillier
Oh, that
version.
is.
It
I
was
forgot
funny.
about the drug weapons. The
I
drug
remember,
weapons.
yeah, like I remember Necrit weapon. When you hit him, it was like boing, boing, boing. The sound. Yeah, it was really cool. Uh, beautiful game, beautiful game. Loved it to heck. I played it a lot as well. Of course, not as well as 3, but we'll get to that later. Soul Calibur 2 comes with new characters, more characters than usual, better, dude, amazing,
And
beautiful
this is also the
soundtrack.
first time that SoulCalibur 2 actually introduced us to secret characters. So
Oh yeah, that's true.
characters
Like
such as
we got
Berserker,
the
Assassin,
well, they're
and
not secret. They're
funny
extra.
enough,
They're
Lizard
extra.
Man.
They're extra characters, not
I forget it.
secret.
Okay, my
Yeah, well,
bad.
technically they are secret, but I think they were named in the list extra characters. Like if I
Okay.
search online for guides, it would say extra characters. So it kind of differs. I think it's the same shit, whatever. But it was really cool. I actually like that because those characters never came back into the Soul Calibur universe, but they had weapons that characters that were not able to come into the game, they have their own weapons. For example, Berserker. It was like an ogre-looking character with like an armor with horns. It was like, and he had a huge axe. And if you never played the first games, you'll be like, okay, that's just like Astaroth. No, not really. It basically
Mm-mm.
is rock weapon style,
It's Rock's weapon
but
style.
with a reskin, yeah. And then we got to Lizardman, which is basically the same. That one has its own original, but it's basically the same as the first SoulCalibur. The good thing about this one is that they had 6 iterations of color, 2 skins, no 3 skins. They had 2 skins, but they had like 3 colors of one skin and then 3 colors of the other one. That was kind of cool. So Lizardman had a lot of colors. You know, it was kind of fun to see that, and made it much more playable. And then we come to my favorite extra character, which was Assassin.
Assassin.
I don't know if you... Dude, he was one of the coolest characters in the game. And I knew he was not important to the lore because I understand it felt like a niche. It felt like something that it was put on at the last minute. You know what I'm talking about? So I don't think there's a story
and like he
behind.
seems familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. And then you put the Caliber 6, and then
my
you
question
put
is,
it together. It's like, oh snap! It's Huang.
It's Huang, yeah. So he was using Huang weapon style, which we do get in the next game, but for the character creation. But we'll get to that later. But Assassin had that Huang play style, and I always wonder when I grew up and learned about Huang because I never saw him on. The first time I saw Huang was on 3, on the arcade version because they had a bonus character slot for him for some reason. It was weird because we do get him in bonus characters in 3, but in the arcade it was a separate slot for him. Like he was a unique character, so that was kind of cool. The arcade version had exclusive, officially one character in the game, and like I always thought, hey, so Assassin, who is this guy, right? Who is this extra character, funny looking character? He only goes like, whoa, whatever. He never talks. Yeah, he was like, oh, oh. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But he looks cool. I like the second skin. I love it. I think SoulCalibur 6, they actually did Huang with that armor, which I was like, boom. Mind blown, dude. Mind blown. And I always thought, is that Huang or not?
Yeah, I was like, wait, who's this guy? Hold on a second. He has the same style as Huang, and he fights like Huang. That's totally a different person. Yeah, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, it's Huang.
I thought it was just like Huang, but like in disguise, like Racer X from Speed Racer, you know. But I guess not. I guess it's a different character. Hey, still, it was a really fun idea. They never brought them back. They only brought back Lizardman because that's where it all began to say, hey, people like this character. Let's make him a character, you know. Let's not make him just an evil thug from the corner.
Like, don't make him a jobber. Make him like something unique.
Yeah, exactly. So... yeah, I think that's all I can say about SoulCalibur 2. The modes were cool. They had like slippery stages, mini games, challenges that you have to do in the event viewer. Labyrinth, which basically they will have you do to unlock Lizardman. You had to go through a huge labyrinth. We're talking about like big ass. Spend hours in that labyrinth. Basically, it was fighting. Basically, but it showed you like a labyrinth. And then it showed you the way that you're taking it. So you took this one, and then if you win this fight, you will open up 2 blocks here, and you decide which one to go, which that was the whole challenge, which is the right path. Until we reach the end, when we finally get to fight Lizardman and then unlock him. If we do, it was hard. For me, it was hard. It took courage for me to finally unlock him at the end. That was the only character that I couldn't unlock in Weapon Master mode. I did unlock Berserker and Assassin, but not him. And then, like, of course, in HD Online, I did. So, yeah. SoulCalibur 2 had a lot of cool things. It had extra mode, which it will involve that. Had team battle mode, which basically is... oh, this is kind of, like, obvious for fighting games. You choose 3 characters, and then it's only 1 round per each in the match. So you have to defeat, let's say, if you have 5, you have to defeat 5 enemies in 1 match until all of them are dead, and then you have your own team. If one dies, it goes to the next, you know, the usual. A lot of cool stuff. Time attack, the usual stuff. The only Weapon Master is the only unique stuff in here. All I can say is SoulCalibur 2 does deserve a spot in the feelings of all fanatics here. It was a good game, but for me, unfortunately, it was not the best. for me.
Mm.
But I know that for a lot of people, it's one of the best Soul Caliburs out there. And man, I did have a blast with that one until I get the third one. The second one was I spent time trying to unlock the characters. That's what I remember. That was my main goal. I gotta unlock all the characters. I gotta unlock Charade. I gotta unlock Yoshimitsu because I gotta unlock these characters. These characters are way better than the originals. And then it was like the next mission. I did it all. I need to unlock all the skins, the third ones. Like it was just a mission of unlocking and unlocking and unlocking. I was never into completing a story. I did manage to complete Weapon Master mode, but I never did 100% on it because it's not that easy. Trust me, it's not that easy. It gets harder as you go, especially the redo, because you have to, after you've finished all of the missions, you got to do them all again. But like a second time in a harder version of it. So it was just a pain in the ass to complete those. But man, I really had a lot of fun. New characters brought to the table, and all of them were good. You know, you don't see a character and you feel like, nah, that was a tough audition for me. I don't like it. No, all of them were cool, and you feel in love with them. That you want them more. That's hard to do. Like, bring a lot of characters and they make them stick in the game because people wanted them to. You know, sometimes they bring one new character, but then the next game she's gone or he's gone. You know what I mean? Or it's gone. But no, like, this characters went back. Nightmare Only, Astaroth, what else? I forgot what was the other characters that were added here? Raphael, you know, like those characters that came in, we want them to stay. We want to know what happens next. You know, it's really cool. I really did enjoy this game. So I will give this an A tier. I definitely think it deserves the spot of being one of the best SoulCalibur games. Not the best personally, but I understand why people will call it the best, because this is what brought all people from every platform to SoulCalibur. You know what I'm talking about? This is the one that actually said everybody knows about SoulCalibur, thanks, because now it's multi-platform. It's not just one platform. You know, it's Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation. Boom, everybody's in on it. And then, you know, it went back to exclusive after, but, you know, at least with this one, people knew about SoulCalibur first because of this. People who didn't want to arcades, they only play consoles and shit. They were not that interested in SoulCalibur 1 or 2 or Soul Blade, and then they saw this. This is their game because Link is there, because Heihachi is there, because Spawn is there. Totally deserves an A for me. I will give this a 9 out of 10. What do you think?
I gotta agree with you there. I will give this mess it will be an A tier for me, because it was actually my second ever SoulCalibur that I played on the PS2, and I remember literally just be like, and for some reason I actually felt the intent to roleplay the entirety of this mess, like in a Weapon Master mode. I was like, okay, I'm on a journey to be the best fighter ever been, and then it's like, oh snap, okay, he's real. He's picking up like he picked up Soul Edge, and he's like, what the heck is going on here?
You spend your time in it. And it's well deserved, this spot. But now, I'm gonna do a positive rant on one of the best, for me, the best SoulCalibur game ever existed. And it's going to be SoulCalibur 3. Let's talk about SoulCalibur 3, ladies and gentlemen. SoulCalibur 3 for me deserves the number 1 spot. And it's for me a 10 out of 10, no matter what you say. I understand why you would rate it lower, but no, you cannot just get over that, because it justifies himself, even though it's not the best quality fighter. But it does deserve the number 1 spot. In my opinion, SoulCalibur 3 will always be the best. Because here's the thing, SoulCalibur 3, when it started up, it went back to being an exclusive console. Maybe because of budget reasons, Sony decided to say, hey, I'll give you the money, but you're giving me the exclusivity, so nobody else will have this game, only arcade. And they say, hey, if it's another SoulCalibur, I'm down for it. Now, SoulCalibur 3 suffered a little bit because of this, right? SoulCalibur 3 was not that playable, because again, GameCube and Xbox players could not get into the game unless they buy a PlayStation 2 or go to the arcades. And mostly arcade doesn't focus on story, just put a coin and fight. Arcade mode had a separate campaign the arcade mode had different, like some sort of campaign in it that you can save your file in it. I never knew how to play it because every time that I joined in, it was already maxed. Somebody actually just saved a file on that campaign story and just completed the hell out of everything, you know. So I never knew how that worked. The arcade version of the PlayStation on the console were quite different, you know. And the good thing about the PlayStation 2 is you can actually switch to the arcade version, and I think you can get all those stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah. SoulCalibur 3, basically here the story ends with Siegfried getting tired of Nightmare, finally destroying Soul Edge once and for all. This time he acted. He got SoulCalibur in action. Boom! Strike Soul Edge in the fucking eye. And this is what happened to it. Unfortunately, it kind of didn't die. It did faded, though. That's why we get the Soul Edge Phantom right here. And, of course, this is the SoulCalibur weapon at its fullest, disruption. And, yeah, that's about it. A lot of people here. A lot of cool things. And we're at it here. This is a new SoulCalibur. This is something that they say, let's just... Since now we don't have the responsibility and the time to separate the time and work on console porting, because it does take time to port, to switch the layouts and everything like that, right? And the quality and shit, and then porting it into an Xbox console, right? So they can read and shit. It takes a time, right? I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a developer, but you know, it is obvious, logically speaking, right? And they say now that we have all that time to spare, let's put everything we can into this beautiful of a gem. And let's introduce more characters. More characters? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, we already have enough. We don't need any more. And no. Let's fucking go for it, man. These guys were stoned out of their minds when they were making this game. In a positive way.
These new characters have really unique fighting styles.
Oh my god, no more nunchucks, no more sticks with a spike on the end to make it different from killing. No. Let's do real fucking concepts. Smoke that joint and say, boom, Ring Blade, boom, Scythe, which is, you know me, Frog. I love the Grim Reaper art style. Boom, Umbrella with a fucking sword attached to it. Insanity. Boom. An owl of a head in a human body, which, okay, it's technically a mask, but a guy with an owl mask.
It's a moving mask.
With a moving mouth mask. To that age, in medieval times, that was like, what? New head. Or maybe, I don't know if it's like an enchantment or some shit like that. It was not like a king thing, but whatever. And let's make the new character the final boss. Boom!
That is...
Not just that. Smoke another joint. Light it up. Character creations. Boom. New stuff out of the gates. Creating new system engine. We create characters now. Put them names. Make them jobs with original weapons. So we're not talking about like right now where you can create a character and you can just get Nightmare weapon and use him as your character, which is not bad. It's cool, but no. SoulCalibur 3 had over 10 job classes with their unique weapons. I'm spitting. And I don't care. I'm spitting at the camera, and I don't care. It had a lot of weapon style. We're talking about sickle, which is like an ivy sword, but with a hook on the end. Different play style whatsoever. We got the rapier sword with Raphael, but a little bit different, a little bit much more aggressive and jumpier and lighter and less strategic, which is eventually that's what become Amy, which is here in a Sabuno character, and that's what the weapon she uses, which is basically the weapon that we see now in SoulCalibur 6 for Amy. She was not an original character, officially character. She was a bonus character, and then she got added on, I think in 6 or 4. Yeah.
She was a main character not main character. She was a original. No, she was. Okay, this is how it was. It was originally a character that was mentioned in SoulCalibur 2. She became a character in SoulCalibur 3, and she became one of the biggest characters in the main roster.
Yep. I agree. Beautifully done. And but we're not stopping there. We're not stopping there. What, Johnny? You sure? Yeah, we're not stopping there, bro. Because you know what? After all of this jobs, we got pirate job, we got assassin with wave swords, a dancer with tambourines, we got fucking a barbarian with an iron sword, but not the way Nightmare grabs it, not the way
Free
grabs it. It's just an original way. We got lance. You know what I'm talking about? You know what lance is? Lance is basically, hey, dude, I got this. Don't worry. I'm going to fucking have a lance. And I'm going to be killing and Xianghua combined. And makes a huge, huge annoying monster. Trust me. One of the most annoying weapons you'll get in this game. And not just that. Not just that. We got more. We got fucking more. We got pirate. With fucking Huang weapon style. He's not in this game. But we got the playstyle back. You can count on that. Oh, you want one back? You can create him. He's a bonus character in the game. Bonus characters are basically creations of the developers. And they recreated Amy with the character creation customs. So they're going to look like character creations, but they're basically original characters. It was like an exclamation mark that you press, and you get a huge list of bonus characters. That means character created from a separate mode that I will talk eventually. And then you also get characters that the developers made, which is Revenant, fucking the first skeleton character. Well, actually, not really, technically, but less flaming. No flaming skeleton. The first no flaming skeleton fighter in the game that you could actually play.
Revenant.
Which I hated the fact that we could not have a skeleton skin in character creations. That's why in 5, when the DLC came out, I was, whoa, I needed that dollar. I needed, and I didn't have it. I got so mad because they released the DLC in SoulCalibur 5 for skeleton skin for your character creation. For the first time ever, you can actually have a skeleton character. And I went nuts asking my dad, please give me a card. I don't have the money. It's only $1. It's only $1 so I actually get a prepaid $10 card just to get that skin. And you know, I saved the money for other stuff later, right? So anyways, going back to 3, right? We get this amazing looking character, Human Revenant, which is an assassin class. We also get Swordmaster class, which is every single job himself. We get weapon leveling up. When you use the character's weapons, eventually you get newer ones from other jobs, and then eventually you get 2 main one of the original characters. So let's say if you wanted to use Ivy or Cervantes, you have to use a pirate job created character. You have to create a character with the pirate job, and then level up with his weapons, keep fighting, and then eventually you'll level up to unlock Ivy and then Cervantes or vice versa. I don't remember. So that's so cool because that means, hey, I gotta play the game. That means more hours playing the game. That means no news on Google saying, oh, SoulCalibur lost his fan base after 2 months. You know, none of that. Because why? Because you're focusing playing on the game, trying to level up all your fucking jobs so your character creation can have the original weapons. Now we get them for free at the get-go, which is okay, but I want more originality, and the character creations in SoulCalibur 3 had them all, because we got Lance, Iron Sword, Sword and Shield, which completely different, technically is Lesser Man for SoulCalibur 2, but they changed it because you know why? In this game, they added Lizardman as an official original character with its own story, and no Sword and Shield, Axe and Shield, new weapon for Lizardman. New weapon for Lizardman. First time, well, not technically not the first time, but because you know we can actually play as Inferno in the other games, but we can play at the final boss, and the final boss is Sassalamel, turned into a monster called Abyss. It's like a demon version of him with more powers, more overpowered. And then we got Sassalamel, bro, one of the coolest characters. He's my main. He's my main character in SoulCalibur 6. The guy with the sight, you know, like a black dude with the golden eye, you know. This guy is amazing. When I saw this, I was like, a fucking sight as a weapon? SoulCalibur, you already struck oil. You don't have to do this shit. You don't have to fucking do this shit, man. And you fucking did it. Thank you. Thank you. I worship Namco for giving me a sight weapon. You know, that's the coolest thing ever. Ever. When do you see that? You don't see that often. You only see them in 2D fighting games. You don't see that anywhere else, right? So we got sights, bro. We got sights. Not just that. We're done with the characters, right? Yeah, we show you everything. Olkadan.
Hold on. You forgot also the other other move sets. You have Wave Sword, which is literally like
Yeah.
two massive blades just
Like wrestling
elbow
around,
each other.
and you're like this,
Katana Shuriken. You
dude,
literally are
bro.
teleporting all over the place.
Dude, it was a katana, right? And they hold it
Hmm.
like this, like a ninja, and then they have like a rotating shuriken on the back, and they could actually like teleport and throw the shuriken from the fucking roof. Where is that in SoulCalibur 6? We need that in SoulCalibur 7. That why did you take it away? Why? I know it's time consuming, but dude, insanity. Insanity. Not just that one. The Kudains, which is like a Naruto shit ninja moveset. Fucking
Hmm.
amazing. The katana for the samurai class.
Which is ridiculously
The
OP.
fucking bro, the fucking greave edges, like the fucking boots that had swords in it, and that's how you fight. Just kicking, just kicking. It was like Steve Fox turned upside down. You know,
It was like, oh, you want to kick the bad? Here, have some green edges and see how you feel.
dude,
You know, say,
insanity.
how do you feel? It feels awesome.
It feels awesome, dude. Like insanity, insanity. Bro, like not, okay, so I think there's more. There was like a staff that like stretches and gets fatter and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that
there were a
is
lot of
straight up out of Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z.
There were a lot of cool stuff there, and there's more. I cannot stay here because I'm gonna spend 3 hours talking about it, right? And we're already at 1:55. I think this episode is gonna be longer than the other one because you know this is our thing, bro. This is our shit. So, anyways, not just that, not just that. Okay, we're done with the characters. We're done with the jobs. We're done with the story. Oh, Tales of Souls. We got quick play, which is arcade routing, right? Simple, right? Just from start to finish and then start over, right? Here's some money for your troubles. The legend will never die. But you want something more. You want story. You want dialogue. You want cutscenes. Tales of fucking Souls. Tales of fucking Souls is basically this. Pick a character that you want to know the story from. What happened in this SoulCalibur journey. From start to finish, you read a description of who he is, right? Even if you know the character already, you still get it. And then you will see his route and you can choose which one to take. There will be moments when you're fighting and you're talking and then says like, and let's say you defeated Sassanamel. First of all, when you open and you go to Sassanamel, right, you'll get this cutscene of him talking to you, of Sahin.
And it's one of the first ever
Bro.
Soul Calibur games to have quick time events
Yes.
or QT for
Yes.
short.
Not just everything that I just told you. Quick time events. If you don't dodge this shit, you're out. And for me, it was hard because I didn't even know the gaming language. What the fuck is right K? Just right circle, please. Right circle, not right K. It's confusing. But yeah, eventually you get it. You know, you understand which letter belongs to which button input, of course. But it was if you press it right, you dodge it. If you're not, you will get hit by it, and you will still start the fight with less health. Dude, sometimes Abyss will throw you the fucking side, and it will like guard it, and it will break it. You know, some of them break, some of them don't, depending on the story. There's actually people who jump out in front of you, and if you get hit, you get poisoned for like 5 seconds, for like damage per second. Shit, quick time events in fighting games through their story. Sometimes you finish this match, you defeat Assassin, right? You pass the quick time event. He goes, "Oh, you're quick. I was wrong about you." You start fighting. Battle 1, fight. You're done. You finish him. KO. It's only one round in Tales of Souls. And then when you're done, he says that he gives up. He tells you where you at. But before you leave, looks like you're being followed. What do? Stop or continue your journey? It was a fucking D&D game. It was a fucking D&D campaign inside a fighting game. And nobody talks about this, dude. Not even me. Like, dude, like...
It's literally D&D, but in a fighting game.
Do you stop or go? Who asks you that in a fucking fighting game? And if you press stop, it will go instantly to prepare to defend yourself, which is actually like a weird extra character that's not playable, like Berserker, which is not a bonus character that you unlock, sadly. And it's not the Berserker from 2. It's Berserker like a different armor and lance. You do get his armor, but and the weapon style, but the character himself officially, I don't think you can unlock him. I don't know. I did create him though, because you know I fell in love with that character. Like, who the fuck is this character? I like him because he had the helmet, and you know when you're starting and you're seeing that helmet, You're like, am I going to get that for the character? And yes, but you have to finish something that I'm going to talk about later. So yeah, D&D choices. This is fucking cool, right? If you follow a certain path, you'll find out a labyrinth, and then if you press stop on that one, you'll fight a person named Doppelganger, which is basically like a shadow, and you have to defeat the shadow. You don't know who the fuck these are. Versus Unknown. You remember Unknown? It was like the ninja class, but like girl with a cape, you know. And I was like, whoa, so eerie, so. Like, dude, what the heck is going on? This game is amazing. And we haven't gotten to the worst part. There's a lot more.
There's also Meiser, who has also appeared in Tales of
Meiser.
Souls, who will basically drop coins to use in the newer like addition to the shop, which also you can also buy not just weapons, but you can also buy
items,
costumes, and
armor,
custom pieces.
Dude,
and even
illustration art, and there were shopkeepers. There was like, welcome. And every single one, like they sell different stuff. One sells armor, like the sisters, the trio sisters. Of course, we all love Valerie. That was the one. We spammed that triangle to see those juggle. But are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, that was a glitch that like Easter egg that a lot of people like online. The perps were looking at it. Oh, good times, man. My teenage good times. You know, hey, I didn't have any girlfriends back then, bro. I was a geek. Anyways, now geek is cool. Back then it wasn't. Anyways, so we got that, right? Amazing. Cool stuff, characters, mode. We got tournaments. We got fucking tournaments, dude. Like a bracket versus AI, difficult AIs. Not just that. Win 12 tournaments to go to something else. You unlock something called League, which is like a bigger version of a tournament. A fucking league versus AIs. Bro, versus fucking AIs. Leagues, and you can actually play the multiplayer league mode. You know what that is, bro? We're talking about me and my friend. He dies, so he loses it, goes to the loser round, and he continues fighting. Oh, what's the next turn on the list on the league fight? Oh, it's you versus an AI. Oh, it's me versus an AI. Oh, it's both of us at the same, like, against each other. How fucking mind-blown is that? How? Insanity, bro. Like the content. It's still, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We had arcade version if you want to switch it up, you know? Not just that. We got a new mode, mission mode, which is basically a lot of missions, easy, difficult, and hard. The same ones, of course. We got like 10 of them or 12 of them, but in easy, medium, and hard version. We had to fight a giant statue. You remember that versus Colossus? Insane.
Yeah. But then again, when you defeat it, you have to move out of the way, otherwise you'll end up losing.
The first time I was like, yeah, wait, knockout. And I was like, what? After all this fucking time. Yes, insanity. Like, keep hitting the player to get enough coins. If you do get enough coins, you don't get the gold tier win. And there was also like hit a character so they can bounce walls how many times, and if you do get enough times, you get a bigger one. The guy has a lot of damage, defense, but if you bounce him off the wall, he'll lose more health. Like a survival mode inside it. Not just that, it's all over, right? No more. Apart from the museum and the art gallery and all that stuff, right? Yeah, that's another thing. Every single games has that. I'm not counting that. We have something else.
Did I mention that there was an extra boss, basically?
Oh, yeah. The path for Night Terror. Nightmare has an evolution called Night Terror. Yeah, that's his ending. And if you do have a right path to choose from, you can actually fight Night Terror. It's the hardest shit ever in the game, right? So we get to fight Night Terror. You can ring out him. He comes back flying up. He cannot be ring outed.
And the worst part is when you're trying to ring him out, he regains all of his health.
Yep. So
and
don't
you're
try to ring him out.
And like minimize of the health you actually get from fighting him. It's like, hold up, that was a good idea to fight him,
dude. Okay, not just this. Check this out. Not just that. What if I told you that we have an extra game inside SoulCalibur 3? Now you're wondering, like an extra disc? No, some of them brought the Namco demo disc bundle, but no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about an extra mode, but it's just another story, another side game. It's a different game, dude. I'm not lying when I see this. It's not like combat racing in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. It's like Conquest in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. It's a different game inside a game. Beautiful. And how do they do it this time? With a fucking strategy board game. I'm not speaking Budokai 2 level. No. Not that type of board game. We're talking about sending your soldiers one by one to specific locations to destroy towers. And if you destroy that tower, you have to fight the one who inside that tower. And if there's nobody, you can conquer it. But if there's somebody in it, you got to fight him. And then after you fight him, different slogans like Dalkia Kingdom, Grand Dal, the fucking the Saltese Republic.
Saltese.
We have different guilds. And they had their own leader and political assholes and shit. Turns out there's a plot twist. We were the bad guys all along. We didn't know. Blah, blah, blah. Dude, insanity. Cutscenes at the end. Characters that are basically created by the creation mode having their own personality. Dude, you can change the character moving either for a bandit, a knight, or cavalry, which is like running on a horse. What the fuck is this shit, dude? Are you fucking telling me we need a Chronicles of the Sword 2? No. This is not Libra of Souls. No, fuck that. That's good mode, but no. We need a Chronicles of the Sword 2. Definitely, we need a Chronicles of the Sword 2, ladies and gentlemen. SoulCalibur 3 had the most content. All of that with over 15 Chronicles. I think it was like 18 or 20 Chronicles.
It was 20 Chronicles.
It will take me, dude, to finish it on my own. One go, it takes me more than 5 hours to beat this game. That's how fucking dope this is. The mission was, in each Chronicle, you have to complete certain goals if you wanted to, but the main goal was to go into their main stronghold and destroy them while defending yours. And then when you move it, you see the enemy standing normally, right, in some Chronicles. And when you're moving, they start moving and making up their own strategies. Sometimes you're in the middle of it and you're thinking, this is easy. All of a sudden, the leader says, like, ambush, and all of the enemies try to go into this goal, and you're away from the goal, so you have to come back. And you're like, shit. Bro, yes, we're talking about SoulCalibur 3. Still.
Same game. This is legit the same as that game.
Do you realize what this means? We've been talking about SoulCalibur 3 more than the other ones. It's the power of SoulCalibur 3. And for this reason, we got Rock back. We got Huang as a bonus character. Ivy with a new look and bigger boobs, of course. Every single game you get bigger boobs. And Kilik, Xianghua, Lizardman. Look how Lizardman is right now. With a fucking feather on the back. Look at the shield and the axe, bro. Look at Yoshimitsu. Not my favorite costume, though. And then Nightmare gets its own separate version back from the unknown. It's not Siegfried in, like, SoulCalibur 2. No, that was Siegfried with Nightmare skin. No. We're getting Siegfried. He holds it with one hand now, which I prefer this pose way better than the 4, 5, and 6. And look at this character right here. Dude, the voice actor for me for Nightmare always will be 2 and 3. 4, 5, and 6, I don't like them. There's Shao Kahn level of stupidness. Astaroth with a better design. Look at this design. And you haven't seen the second costume. I don't think they'll have it here. Li Long comes back. Li Long, yes, there's a double nunchuck class on the character creation. And the developers created Li Long with those 2 double nunchucks, bro. We're still talking about SoulCalibur 3.
More than one. He's wielding 2.
Yeah. We got Raphael with an amazing, one of the best outfits he has ever worn in every SoulCalibur game. Talon, Cassandra, Johnson comes back. Setsuka, this is a new character. An umbrella with a blade hitting on the handle. How fucked up is awesome. Well, you already know about her because she's on 6. But yeah, like for the newcomers, Tira comes back with the ring blade. I got banned. My thumbnail got banned because of this picture. Tira comes back with a ring blade. Dude, insanity. This girl is like she's the Harley Quinn of SoulCalibur. She has like a double personality. She started developing that more in 4, 5, and 6. Here, I think she doesn't change to Gloomy. Does she in 3? I don't think so. But she does get mad and happy. In 4, 5, and 6, she started having the double personality switch, which is a cool challenge, an amazing addition to her character gameplay mechanics. Sassalimel, my favorite character on 3 because of that sight, and the story of him is cool. You know, he wants to die. This motherfucker wants to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because he's tired of living eternally, because he has a curse on him that he lives eternally. So he's trying to get soulish in this one just to die. And he fucking doesn't die. That's the fucked up shit. That he doesn't fucking die. And this is Olkaden, the new random character. There's no charade, no Edgemaster, but this is kind of like the Edgemaster, but you know, like a different Edgemaster. Mm-hmm. And that's not his face. That's an owl mask. This is the reason why I named my Wizarding World of Harry Potter owl Olkaden. Is because of him. Abyss. This is Sassanamel, but the final boss form. He had like a scythe throw, and then the hog, like you see in SoulCalibur 6 with the Soul Charge. Amy, Ashley here. She's a bonus character. She's official, but not its own slot. You know what I'm talking about. And then we got these are the levels. This is the Mitsurugi level, which amazing levels, by the way. Oh, and let me tell you something. SoulCalibur 3 has the best soundtrack too. The most memorable one, at least for me. This one, right? This one was like, not right. Like with the guitar, right? That's the final. That's the final level.
If there was another way, there's also water dance. There's also
You get the idea. There's a bunch of versions of that one, but yeah, this one right here, the Sassanamel stage, Time marches on. Love that piece, by the way. I love that. The Egyptian level from Yunsun. Love that, and you're fighting on an wooden build crane. It's really cool. And you get to fly all over the area, like in a single position. Like the Sophitia level, Cassandra level, the Labyrinth, which is basically the same soundtrack as the second one. This is Ephemeral Dream. This fights with the Cathedral Song of Devil Jin in Tekken. They both clash together in this one because they kind of look like the same thing. And the cool thing about this one is like this is the one with the organ. This one, it has like a piano section. Gung, 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 gung. That reminds me a lot of Kingdom Hearts 2. I think either Yoko is inspired or vice versa, but this song right here reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 2 a lot. And yeah, this is the final level, like the same one as this one, but destroyed. Which this is the Abyss level, and this is the Maxi one, which is the same one as SoulCalibur 1. But like redone. This is Setsuka level, which has one of the beautiful melodies with the taiko no the Tatsurian, whatever, those drums, Chinese drums. You know what I'm talking about? The big ones. Dun, 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 dun.
It is very drum
Ephemeral Dream.
based, basically.
I think it's called Ephemeral Dream. One of my favorite soundtrack. Every single stage of Astaroth in SoulCalibur that I can change it to the SoulCalibur 2 version right here. Dun 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 dun. Yep, and then in SoulCalibur 5 I have it changed to that one. In SoulCalibur 4 I don't think there is one. In SoulCalibur 3 of course it's the same one but like a little bit better. In SoulCalibur 6 I have it changed to the SoulCalibur 3 version of that song. Dun 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 dun. That's the Astaroth level. You remember that one? And this is Lake Coliseum. This one I don't remember too much, but I know this level. This is the one when the character just flinged at me and bring out himself in the clip that I have on TikTok. This is Xianghua level, a beautiful one. This is Yoshimitsu's level. I don't like this one too much because the platform is really short. You know what I'm talking about? The one like the piece of the house like floats on lava. And then we got the fire. This one is a cool level, really linear. This one is the Tyrell level, which is basically the Soul Blade raft level, but in a better way, done in a better way, of course. And then we got the pirate ship. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I call it Julian's boats. So yeah, this is Cervantes level, aka Julian's boat, and one of my favorite ones. It reminds me a lot of Pirate Caribbean. When I was a kid, I used to play SoulCalibur 3, and all of a sudden I see this level, and I turn it off and immediately put Pirates of the Caribbean because it had that much influence on me. Oh, and if it was raining in real life and I'm playing this level, I could feel a cold breeze. It was just perfect, man. It was just perfect. Calyx level, training with Edgemaster. This is Raphael Rebel. I love this one. This is one. Dun, 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 dun. How foolish of you to anger me. I'm a big fan of SoulCalibur 3. This is Boldo's level, Lizardman level, Taki's level, Ivy level, Talim level. I know it all. I know it all. But yeah, definitely I can say there's a lot of this in this game. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can actually edit the colors of the characters, and they have like I think 3 or 2 separate editions. Whether it was you who can customize the color palettes of Nightmare, you can put the color of the Nightmare black, and then the skin you can put it yellow or blue or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? You can change that on each character. Not as much as now, where you can actually change the dresses of the characters, like 4 started that. But yeah, imagine, so huge. We have spent so much talking just about 3. So imagine the power that SoulCalibur 3 had. Like, there's no denying that this is the number 1, even if you'd like SoulCalibur 2 more. Like, how can you not say it? Rationally speaking, now, of course, gameplay-wise, yes, it was not the best one. It was a little bit faster, but a little bit slower, a little bit far away from the camera, not that 2D close-up arcade feel. I understand completely, trust me. But it still kept that originality of SoulCalibur fighting, at least. Not like 5 where they kind of tried to change it all of it, and it still had a little similarity to it, but 3 didn't do so much on the gameplay, and I understand that completely. They try to focus a lot on content and failed on gameplay a little bit, but just a little bit. It does not ruin the fun, guys. Come on, don't come at me with that statement, because it's still not valid. I can still guarantee it, and I'm gonna let you talk now, Drifter. Sorry about that, because I'm sorry, this is my number 1. I know I've been talking the whole SoulCalibur 3, but I want to say this, and this is how it will end it. There's no question, deny it. This game for me is an S tier, 10 out of 10. The only one. Done. So what do you think?
In terms of like the game wise, I actually do like how the game actually played.
Yeah.
Like it ranged from like, not to mention every single game they actually improved it on the 8-way run. Same thing with the characters. Like most people don't even realize how insane the character creation is until like they look at Scalper 4, which will be next for the most part. And then you have like the original weapons, like for example, like you said, the lance, the iron sword, and then you have some obscure ones like you got the steel fan, you got the tambourines, a single dagger with a full-on freaking bomb. That's one of the moves.
Insanity. It's just insanity. Yeah, like
it's insane.
Too much.
Same thing with like heck, each and every single weapon actually have their ultimate weapons, and the cool part is like it's no longer just like there's too many weapons for one character. Like they have each character actually have like their own stuff. Like for example, like you have let's see, shoot, I forgot what was. Actually, I don't remember now. Basically, you have, like, for example, you have the Chris Naga, which is Taki's ultimate weapon. You also have, like, every single character has SoulCalibur or Soul Edge. It's not just like, there's both SoulCalibur and Soul Edge. And it's like,
no, it depends. Yeah,
it depends on the character. But there's also the fact that they also had joke weapons, and the joke weapons legit returned from the last game.
Insane.
And now with the new characters, like for example, Setsuka's is a lizard themed umbrella, which I forgot what sound it makes. It's freaking hilarious. And you got Tara with a hula hoop, which is basically what Tira's weapon is literally based on. It's basically a full on bladed hula hoop. And then you have Zosima with a full on like bird head. I think that's what it is. It's a full on bird head that makes like a rattling sound. I'm like,
By the way, pause on that
yeah.
one. Olkadan does have a like. That's not his face. Like, there's the second costume shows his face. He's like an old guy with like some dreads here. But I don't
Mhm.
think they showed it in the slideshow that I showed you. But yeah, continue. Sorry. Overall,
Um,
sorry, my bad. We gotta like try to keep shorting it out because we got a lot of games to talk about. Um,
mhm,
but yeah, so overall, a masterpiece. Well done. How will you
mhm.
tier? What's your tier?
I will say A. Now, the reason why I'm saying A instead of S is because, for the most part, it's between an A and A tier and S tier. Because there are some games, there's some parts I like about it, and then there are other things I don't like about it. For example,
No, but
the
it's fair to say A. It's fair
ST.
to say A. Remember that like there's some parts that you might not like, so don't be afraid of saying oh it's not S just because I say it S. You can say it's A. But why do you not consider this in an S tier?
It's because it's not a lot. I mean, there's like a little bit of things. For example, the AI in Tales of Souls is brutal, and we're talking like this is coming from like, and keep in mind this was actually my first ever SoulCalibur game, and I remember the game being brutal.
It
Like
is.
for
Yeah, the
example,
AI is has improved.
the fight against Setsuka. I kid you
Oh,
not,
fuck her,
many
dude.
most
Fuck
people
her, dude.
will remember how
Scatter and die,
difficult
scatter and die, scatter and die. Fuck yeah.
the full on spamming of that one specific move actually was the ultimate thing. I was like,
Dude,
man,
man, fuck Setsuko, man. Like they made her better throughout the games, but the AI, like she was not bad, but the AI that was in the
AI
arcade
is so
in
cheap.
Souls, bro, and we're talking about medium difficulty, easy difficulty. She was a pain in the ass to beat.
Mhm.
Imagine the hard difficulties, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
As well as like for example, heck, even what's that called? Even like I mentioned, like the extra like night tower is especially cheap. Like we're talking, we ring him out, he comes back
mm-hmm.
with full health. He shoots lasers. He has a move where it depletes 90% of your own health, and literally he can throw you across the arena and you'll ring out, and it's impossible. It's like
It
who
was
the
meant to
heck
be
is.
like that. Yeah, it's possible to beat though. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it
Mm-hmm.
twisted. But it's like one in a million, you know. And of course, it's meant to be a tough challenge. The whole journey that you went through, and there were rumors stating that you cannot die or else you won't reach him. But that's not true. You can die as long as you don't quit. Just press continue and move forward. But yeah, like I
Um,
agree with you. The AI it was a little bit broken, we can say, for the most part. But I think it was intentionally just to make certain areas of Tales of Souls and arcade a little bit much more challenging for the audience. You know, they didn't want people to make this an easy game. They wanted to have their playtime filled. You know, which was a thing back then compared to
the
online.
other thing about let's see, this actually relates to Tales of Souls, not Tales of Souls, Chronicles of the Sword, and one of the let's see, one of the my goodness, I remember this specific chapter. This chapter legit made me rage. It was I think it was chapter either chapter 8 or chapter 10. It was basically it was the one where there's like two bosses that you had to fight, and one of them used a sword and shield, and he freaking spams. Like I'm talking like he
Oh,
legit is like that one.
you're talking about Chronicles of the Sword, right?
Yeah, Chronicles of the Sword. There were
Bro,
like
Billy,
two
I
bosses.
agree with you, dude. If you haven't seen my live streams, dude, which I am planning on redoing them again, by the way, the Chronicles of the Sword. I don't know when, but you know, stay in touch. But yeah, like I've played through the whole Soul Calibur twice, and I cannot. Dude, the bosses in this game are meant to be assholes. Like for real.
Mhm.
Like the guys who give them, hey, we need to program your skills. Here's the controller. Have fun. They went all and spam the shit out of it. You know, super cheap, bro. I
Mhm.
hate them so much. Yeah, I can consider the AI being a little bit broken, but again, like it was intentionally. So for me itself, I don't when it's intentionally on purpose, I don't judge, even though it could be a lie for them to hide a mistake. But who doesn't do that nowadays? You know, like the movie Wildest Wonderland. You know, they claim it was meant to be shitty, but you know, a lot of people don't believe it. I do believe it because I do get that concept of trying to be
Mhm.
bad. Anyways, but yeah, so
Yeah, I'll rate that like a
A tier,
like A/S tier. So it's basically like in
okay,
the middle of those two, basically.
8.5.
9.5 actually.
Yeah,
Not-
so grading it, yeah, 9.5. Um, and totally agree. Like totally agree. I understand your concerns about it, and not just the difficulty spike went a little bit crazier compared to other Soul Caliburs. Because don't get me wrong, Soul Calibur 2 and 1 had its complications, and Soul Blade as well, but not like this one. This is when they say to themselves, "Let's fucking go for it." But yeah, overall, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 5, amazing. Now let's go to the next game that we're gonna talk about. The one that brought a lot of people including Star Wars fans, Soul Calibur 4. Now, Soul Calibur 4, think of Soul Calibur 3 as Marty's guitar solo,
Mhm.
and boom, like, everybody's just like, the fuck, and then he was, and then he looks at the screen, and then he stops, and then he gets up and say like, "Your kids are gonna love it." That little part is Soul Calibur 4. They
It's
went
basically it's
so
basically a
crazy.
nerfed SoulCalibur 3. That's basically what it
They
is.
went so crazy on 3 with tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of content, tons of story, tons of difficulty spike, Night Terror being an ass, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we got to show. We already we already splurged. We gotta
You took too
rest.
much SoulCalibur. This is
We went all out, and trust me, they actually went all out on 3. So they had to chill a little bit down. Unfortunately, not in a good way, in my opinion. This was one of the most effective Soul Calibur games. Not just the controversy of the Star Wars characters being in Soul Calibur, saying they don't fit. I kind of disagree on that. I get it, but I disagree because, again, we're talking about different universes. You don't know what technology is advanced and whatnot. I understand they don't fit in Soul Calibur, but still, it's a fun addition to it. Soul Calibur weapons changes, Nightmare changes, Siegfried changes. He's more crystallized, much more merged with Soul Calibur here. And a new enemy emerges from the clash of Siegfried and Nightmare. And that is my all-time favorite character from 5 and onward, Algol.
Mhm.
Algol is basically one of the coolest looking characters in the game. We also got introduced to Dampier, but in the PSP version, which is Broken Destiny. Here, to make this short, because we're running out of time, this is going to be a long one. Broken Destiny on the PSP version, it's a PSP game. It's basically Soul Calibur 4, but with 2 extra characters. Dampier, which is the DLC character in Soul Calibur 5, and then Kratos from God of War. That's the guest character from the
Mhm.
PSP. In my opinion, worst
We're
console to
also
put
introduced to another character, Helda,
it.
who is
Oh yeah,
actually
but
the
that's 4.
first
That's
ever
4.
character to own two different sets of weapons.
Yeah,
And no,
interesting
I'm not
character.
talking about a long sword and short sword. No, I'm talking sword and lance.
And
Like we're
Lance.
talking both. We're talking both weapons
Yeah.
simultaneously.
Soul Calibur did bring a lot of cool things to the table. However, it did affect gameplay when it comes for me to the heaviness of it. I think they wanted to implement a little bit of Soul Blade, and that for me was a no-no. I kind of was liking the more faster pace of 2 and 3. However, 4 got a little bit much more heavier. They did brought cool ideas that I don't know why they took it out, but I get it. Maybe they didn't bring too much hype, like tag team. You can actually press R1 and change your character mid-fight. They introduced themselves first time the critical edges, which back then it was called the critical finish, which it was insanely impossible, almost impossible to pull off because again they have to punish guard break, not guard break, guard crush. They have to put and to do guard crush. It requires a lot of hitting on defense and breaking that defense a lot, and to the point when they do it, you instantly have to press R1 or L1 in order for it to function on the PlayStation, and it will actually create a cutscene to do a brutality. Let's call it that way for Mortal Kombat, much more understanding. It was basically like a brutality. It has to be on a certain point. It was really hard to pull off. If you wanted to see them, most of the time you just got to go to training. Like doing it online, doing it with people versus AI, it was almost impossible because usually they don't defense a lot. So that's why they changed it in 5 to meters. We'll get to that later. And then 4, we got introduced to new guest characters, the Star Wars franchise. We got Darth Vader, Yoda, and the Apprentice from Star Wars Force Unleashed, which was a big deal. One of the best Star Wars games out there back then when the PSP was around and that game came around. So it was a good ad for promo. With the fighting style of them were so unique and perfect, hard to pull off, hard to master, because we had to rely on limit because they have the Force. We have special abilities that Darth Vader, Yoda, and the Apprentice had, like electricity, choking from far. I like that grapple move, command grab from Darth Vader. And if you use a lot of it, there's a bar on top of the name that it will go 0, and if you use it, you get stunned, like, ugh. Because you're using too much of the Force, right? So that was an interesting concept. Sadly, there were no chances of editing this character, and one of the things that I hated in SoulCalibur until 6 fixed that. SoulCalibur 6, I applauded, and I worship that they fixed that. They do not let us use the weapons on our characters that are from guest characters or bosses. So we couldn't use Algol, right, which is the final boss in this game, and we couldn't use Darth Vader, Yoda, or the Apprentice, which it was a downer because I know why you blocked it, because that's him. But let us use a lightsaber for our characters. Why they didn't do that? They could have actually just added a reskin for the weapons, but lightsaber versions. They didn't do that. They added a new special abilities to the creation, which is basically something that you put on. Has a graded ability and has I hated that. I really did understand why, but they should have handled it differently, and for me it would have been transmog. Now hear me out. When you put a costume on, you put a mask on, that mask has certain has more damage or has more soul gauge, more chances of ring out in a person, and you're like, oh cool, but then it says but the health drops down to 50. So if you put that mask on, you will have less health. However, there's some other costumes, other outfits that if you put it on, you actually get more. So you will see a blue bar on top of your health bar. So that was a cool, interesting idea to bring, a more strategic and challenge to a fight versus another person, right? That's cool. But the thing is, we hated the clothing that was good for you. The good clothing that looked badass, it sucked. So you will have a good old, embeleco, como decimos nosotros, like a huge mess of a costume. Like, what the fuck is this random ass roulette thing? Just because we needed more health and more damage. Now, if you let us transmog those abilities to the clothes that we want to put on our characters, that would have worked. But sadly, that didn't happen, and that's why it didn't work. Online play, no lobby, no spectator mode, only 1 versus 1, create a match and invite, or join a random match. That's all there is to it. There was no lobbies, there was no spectating, there was no viewing license like now, and that hurt the online section of it. There was not too much of it. We did get Tower of Souls, which is basically like a tower section. It's like the Mortal Kombat towers. We did, however, get a new character. We got Hilda. We got bonus characters. That's a good one, just like 3. But this time with their own specific originality. So we could not edit them, and we could not have what they have on to our characters, either weapons or stuff. So, for example, there's this character called Shura. Shura is basically Cervantes, but instead she has 2 katanas. She shoots an invisible gun because, again, inputs. And she has like a cool dress, sexy dress, fan service, right? And then we got Ashlod, which is like an alien that drops down with like a
Wait, no,
meteor.
Ashla is
No, the
the
doll.
android.
Yeah, the android.
Algolfir.
Yeah, it was Algolfir. No, it was Algolfir. Ashlod is
It's
the
the robot.
Martian. Okay, I don't know. Anyways, but the Algolfir. Oh no, yes, yeah, I got it. I got it reversed. Yeah, Algolfir is the alien girl with the meteor, and this was basically Killick. No, Selmina. It was Selmina, but with a different style, right? And a unique
Mm-hmm.
weapon to them. There was also like Elf Girl, which was Chanhua, right? If I'm not mistaken, or
It
Amy.
was Amy.
It was Amy. Yeah. By
And
the way, this is Amy comes out now out of the bonus area, and Amy is an original character. And officially, she has her own spot. We got Rock back with Astaroth 2. We got Maxi. We got a lot of cool characters coming back, and new ones as well. We also had the Algolfir, which is basically my Ashlot, my bad, which is basically Astaroth, but she was like an android, and she had like a different these bonus extra characters. You get to unlock them when you fight them in the story mode. There was a section where you fight these, and they were random. Certain characters will get different one of those 5 or 4, and when you fight them and defeat them, you unlock them or to buy them. You got to unlock then buy. That was a weird thing in SoulCalibur 4, but it's still, I think it's still due to this day. I don't know, but yeah, SoulCalibur 4 new graphics came in. They introduced new characters. Now Dampier, if we see here, Dampier is basically. Let me see if I get a close up of him. But Dampier is basically this guy right here. Hang on, I cannot do it. I'm show it. He's beside Sophia in this photo. He's basically like the Joker of this character. It's a clumsy character. You get to know him more in 5, but he comes from the PSP version of the SoulCalibur 4, which is SoulCalibur Broken Destiny. Algo, we got Mr. Rugi back. Really cool looking outfits, not gonna lie. Tacky's back with a fishnet outfit, which is much more cooler. Maxi's back with an amazing rocker suit, Pirates to the end. Baldo with a telescope. Sophia with much more revealingness. I don't know why, but yeah. Siegfried with a crystallized, pure, awesome armor. Rock comes back with a rhino suit. Ivy comes back with way bigger boobs than the other one. Keely comes back.
And it's the most controversial costume of all time.
Yeah. It's way too revealing. I just kept it fast just in case. So I don't want to get like ban or something or strike. This is Lizardman again. Same weapon as the third one. But I like a cooler lizard version, and here it is, full-on character, really cute in a way, in a way. Yoshimitsu with like a shell costume, didn't like that. This is Nightmare. Now Nightmare here changes the voice acting, and it's much more distorted, hard to understand. Really, I do love that separation of his torso and the black hole or whatever he has on the chest. On the stomach is what's holding him together. That's kind of cool though. Not my favorite, but this is a cool design, not gonna lie. Look at him here in a full 3D. Yeah, I love that black smoke is his hair now. It used to be hair, now it's smoke. That's cool too. Astaroth, that magma looking rocking
speaking
body.
of
Look at
Nightmare,
that
there is
skin.
another bonus character that is Nightmare style, who is a full-on Oni. I kid you not.
I know who you're talking about, but I forgot. I have just small knowledge of it.
It's I think it's Kamakiri. Hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, Raphael, Talon, Cassandra comes back with one of my favorite outfits. This is the outfit I put on Tubi, the Magician Tubi, if you see my live streams. Jung Soon comes back, more pirate than ever. Setsuka, the new character, comes back again with Tira as well. With this one, she's developing the double personality, so she has more gameplay mechanics added to it. Sassalamel, I hated the costume here. It's much more monkey, like monkish than the other one. I don't like this one. Hilda, of course, definitely beautiful. And then Algo, one of my favorite. This guy literally fights floating in the air like this. Amazing. Super amazing. I love him. It was much more heavier and complex gameplay here. In 5, they like upgraded him, made it much more improved. much more improved than this one, but it's still a cool character concept. Basically, the final boss is basically an out like corrupted
Okay, I
version of.
found it. It's Kami Kirimusi.
I think I still don't get it.
It's nightmare
I
style.
I know what you're saying, but it's like blurry. It's blurry. I remember the name though. But yeah, so Algo basically lost his son because of the power of Soul Lich. He used to be a fearless king. Lost his son because of the Soul Lich. He decided to freeze himself in time or whatever. I don't know. To avenge his son. You know, which Talim does him a big favor. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it anyways. Talim revives his son in her ending here. That was one of my favorite endings in SoulCalibur 4. This is Amy. She's finally an official slot character, not a bonus character or anything like that. She has the same style as Pirate Job in SoulCalibur 3. This is Dampier, only on the PSP in SoulCalibur 5. It's like a clumsy Joker character, looking character. These are the level designs. They're kind of like the same of 3, but with better improvements, as you can see here. Better constructions, the ice level, the same one, the Astaroth Cave, the Labyrinth, the Dodo's level. I love that level. This is a new one. And then we also got, I don't know if they're bringing here. This is like the same one, the Raft level, but like a better one. This is the Cage level, and we see this one as well in SoulCalibur 5, but a little bit much more closer. The Jester Trap level is the same one, but like open. The Pirate level, again, broken. And this one, if I'm not mistaken, has that change. Or I don't know, I think that's in 5. They did the hazards in 5, where they changed the map to another one. Yeah, this is the final level. Final level again, but Siegfried. And yeah, this is the final level before the final level. And this is just like I forgot that level. I love this one. It's like the marionette carousel level. And they didn't show the Star Wars levels here, maybe for copyright reasons. But yeah, they were Star Wars arenas, and they were beautiful, beautiful. Hearing the TIE fighters in the background while you're fighting, you know, it's cool. It was really cool. What else can I say? Yeah, overall, this game, not the best. It had its flaws when it comes to gameplay, a little bit heavier. It did bring cool stuff like the tag team, which you can change in the middle of the fight. The Tower of Souls story modes are there. You can have. This is the first time actually that your character has a story mode, because your character in SoulCalibur 3 didn't have a story mode. You only use it as a quick play, and you can just go and finish the game, and that's it. In this one, you have a story mode with I think 3 endings, right? SoulCalibur, Soul Lich, and both. And then you leave taking the weapons, of course, at the end. But that's cool that they added story for your character. I mean, that resembles a lot, because you want your character to develop, like, imagine like it's part of the SoulCalibur lore. So that's kind of cool. They added that. So as you can see, there were a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and that's why the only thing that saves this game, in my opinion, is the Star Wars guest characters for Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Because if you ignore the excuse me, in what universe they fit with future technology in SoulCalibur, if you ignore that section, that nerdy section, it is a cool addition nonetheless. You know. So yeah, here I think I'm gonna give it. I think it deserves a B minus in tier. I will give this a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not the worst SoulCalibur, but it does need an improvement. A lot of it. A lot of it. So what can you say about like the tier? What would you give it?
I would say I got so for those that are gonna be mad at me because like Kim might have also played Survivor before. I gotta give it C tier, man. Like, well, no,
Okay.
not C tier. My bad. D tier.
Understandable.
I had to go
D
D tier.
Oh shit.
um,
I get it
because
though. It's not for everybody. I totally get it. It and
like
and it fell
I
short. Do you feel that?
yeah,
It felt kind of short.
it it's very short. Like if you like
Yeah, it felt like
grinded
they
the
didn't care
semester of the
about it. It was like
towers,
another
you
cash grab. Come
bought
on,
all the characters,
in one
and
go.
you filled up your 50 custom creator slots, which that is actually an improvement. Um, but the downside is that not only that the game felt slower, but it also feels heavier. The critical edges I barely do. Not critical edge, critical finish that I barely do. Same thing with in terms of like character wise. Um, one of the cheapest characters is, I gotta be honest, it's Yoda because of how
Oh,
short he
dude, he's
is.
short. Yeah, and then you cannot grapple him, and people used to spam that dash throw that he fell to the forward
Mhm.
like that guard break. It was annoying as hell because it was a guard break nonetheless. So spamming a guard break over and over, totally get it. So yeah, I understand why you give it a D plus. I mean, it does deserve that. It needed a lot, and I mean a lot of improvements. They
And not
fixed.
to mention the and the one thing that truly puts it over the edge is the fact that that's the character creation is bounded by stats. You
Yeah,
don't do that to character creation, guys. It's
or
going to create
you can, but have the ability to transmog, because you
that
cannot
too.
just leave it alone. You know, like if you do that, people are don't want to create any characters anymore. I didn't create a lot of characters. I kind of did, but I did more cosplays than everything that I wanted, and I did some edits, and that's it. I do love the fact though that they give you different arms for Nightmare, so that's kind of cool. Like they give you like three extra arms, like the one for SoulCalibur 2, and like a Scorpion one, the original, and another one. So that I kind of like it too. But yeah, it's totally good what you're saying, man. Like they kind of destroy certain things that were not meant to be there. So nonetheless, we give it a D and a and a B. You know what? I'm gonna change my tier to a C. I will give it a C because I'm a little bit friendly with it because I did have my enjoyment out of this, and I did love the final character and the Star Wars characters and the levels, even though I did not like the final boss. I felt like the final boss needed a little bit of amp. If the Soul Calibur 5 version of Algo was in this game, it would have ramped up a little bit on the grade because the final
Mhm.
boss would have been so much better. But yeah,
And the funny thing is, most people will be surprised that the Star Wars didn't made a D tier. It was the fact that how some of the characters are played that made it D tier. And I'm
yeah,
talking every character. I'm
every
not
character.
talking about the Star Wars characters.
Yeah, no,
Nah,
every character is just
yeah, every
they
character.
downgraded a little bit here. Inputs were a little bit much more like complicated or not in a fun way. Yeah, Broken Destiny is the same thing, so I'm not gonna talk about the only thing they're cool about Broken Destiny, the PSP version, is Kratos from God of War 3. It's there, so you get the God of War Kratos, and it's
But
basically
but this is actually the thing. I'm going to separate Soul Calibur 4 and Soul Calibur Broken Destiny. I'm going to give Broken Destiny C tier because of what they did that it's not available on the console version. The Soul Calibur Broken Destiny doesn't tie costume parts to stats. That's the thing.
okay,
It doesn't tie into
better.
stats. They have it's a little bit easier to use critical edges now. I think that's
Okay,
what it
the
was.
finish, yeah,
Uh, um,
but
and
yeah,
then
so
they
you're gonna
have
get what do you have?
extra characters, which is with Dampier and
Dampier and
Kratos.
Kratos, yeah. So yeah, it was an upgrade after I think a year or so. They put it on the PSP. So yeah, but it's basically the same engine, just new extra content stuff. And now we go to Soul
The
Calibur
very
5,
very controversial
the
game.
most the most hated Soul Calibur game in the market, and
Mhm.
I disagree and agree. Now, let's talk short because we're running out of time. I cannot do this too much long. I gotta go to sleep anyways. Um, but Soul Calibur 3 basically was meant to be the final entry of the game. So they were trying to end it. So I understand why they did this. It was, I think it's like 24 years after Soul Calibur 4. The character
17 years because
yeah, characters
yeah.
designs were cool. The visuals were perfectly amazing. A huge improvement on gameplay. The character creation was amazing. They added so much content to the vault to create your character. Even the mask from Splatterhouse was an appearance here. It's a PS3 game, by the way. We got a lot of cool stuff. Halo that glows. The Nightmare from Soul Calibur 2 helmet. From the Nightmare helmet for some Nightmares helmet from Soul Calibur 2. We had a cool online feature with like awesome lobbies and spectator mode. Don't interrupt when texting, starting a match like 6. Algo was definitely improved, much more faster, much more combo focused. like quick
And
battle
he's
mode.
more menacing.
Yeah, it was more
That's,
menacing. Like quick battle mode where it's just like fighting people who actually program their ghost to be in the game, and we can fight them and gain their title. Harada Tekken, which is the creator of Tekken, was actually in one of those, and we had to fight him using the double chin Tekken. It's hard to beat though. He's dope. We also get for the character creation the powers of Devil Jin, which it was a huge improvement and brings back the fist fighting in SoulCalibur, which is kind of cool. A faster version of Devil Jin, which was kind of cool. And then when you get the wings, it was like a black shadowy feather, and laser was more uh, glowy neon instead of rays and electricity. So that was kind of cool. I did enjoy what they did putting that there. Sadly, there's some characters missing. There's no Taki. Now it's Natsu. There's no Xianghua. Now it's Leisha, which is the daughter of Xianghua and Kilik, I bet. And Shiwa as well, they're brothers. Shiwa is the son of Kilik. Kilik is now an Edgemaster, random weapons. The fuck? Edgemaster is in the game as well with random weapons. The final boss, Elysium, which is basically SoulCalibur in the form of Protoculus and Opera, which is their son, which is Sophia's son. Sophia is dead, if I'm not mistaken, in this game. So the Elysium takes the form of her to trick Patroclus, the son of Sophia and the brother of Pyrrha. Pyrrha is a shy girl who's never meant to no harm, but she has malfested blood in her. And then Tira is trying to seduce her to that path. And then we got a clash. We got new characters coming in like Zwei and Viola. Viola Amy turns into like a Red Riding Hood girl with like some like lashes on their fingers and a ball that she can float. Cool, interesting gameplay. They have to nerf it down. It was very powerful. We got Zwei, which is basically sword mixed with the final boss of Tekken Tag, Unknown. He can summon a wolf and combo the wolf with the sword. Amazing. We got the character designs were amazing. Not gonna lie, Nightmare had a little bit of 2 and a little bit of 3 and a little bit of 4 mixed together, mixed with Shao Kahn powerness, like badass, super cheap, one of the cheapest fucking nightmares I've ever seen. That AI is super broken. What else is there cool new? There's cool costumes, cool design. Visually, it is stunning. However, the story is the shittiest story in my life. This story takes place with Pyrrha and Alpha, not Alpha, Patroclus, my bad, Patroclus and Pyrrha, which are brothers who they're trying to find each other, and Patroclus gets tricked by Nightmare killing humans instead of Malfested, thinking they're Malfested, and it's like a clash and drama between him hating the Malfested, and then Pyrrha is Malfested. He didn't know, and then he find out, and then he betrays her because he doesn't want to be with Malfested, racist much, right? Then at the end, they kind of almost kiss and fuck in the middle of the final battle. Elysium was asshole as shit. Like SoulCalibur, we thought it was a good spirit. No, it's an asshole spirit. SoulCalibur just wants to destroy Soulish, and that's it. He doesn't care about anything else. As Master comes back in the story, which is kind of cool. They do like a time travel shed because he fails the first time, just like fucking Kingdom Hearts 3, just like fucking Battle of the Gods and Dragon Ball Z. What else can I say? No, not Battle of the Gods. Resurrection F. Resurrection Freezer. Anyways, the story just flopped for me. Not to mention, there's not too many cutscenes. It's only like images. The budget reasons, I understand completely, but still, it affects the game. Arcade mode, no story for individual characters, guys. It's only that story. Arcade mode is level 1 through 8, and that's it. Restart. So you don't know who Zwei is. You don't know who Natsu is. You don't know who Leisha is. You don't know who Shiva is. Even you kind of find out for yourself, but we don't want that. We want an intro and an ending like SoulCalibur 3 or 2. You don't have to do fucking cutscenes. You can do images like SoulCalibur 1 and 2. Just finish the game and tell us what happens after we defeat the final boss. 3 final bosses which we don't give a shit about.
This is what they should have done. They should have done in-game cutscenes.
Yeah,
that would have
just spiked it up a little more.
Exactly,
but no, it's only the story and that's it. It would have helped a little bit, even though it was kind of bad. But still, it would have helped a little bit. We don't care about the story, but fine, at least we can know about the characters. Nope. Nada whatsoever. So we actually lost that battle. Again, Algo here looks way more, as we can see here in the image, compared to 4. He looks much more intimidating, much more powerful. This is Zwei and Viola, which is technically Amy, but much more mature. It's like a Red Riding Hood and, Little Red Riding Hood and Werewolf. That's his werewolf. He uses the power. We got the characters coming back. Look at the designs here. The designs are not bad. Actually, really good graphic improvements compared to 5. I mean 4. This is their brothers. Elysium is the top one. Angel, the bottom one are their brothers. That's her in the ultimate evil form, and this is him in the ultimate alpha form. Siegfried, this is way in the future, so Siegfried is kind of old here. He's kind of like a retired coach, you know, training by Hilda and everything, and then Patroclus trains with him in the story. Eventually, just Ivy and Cervantes. I don't know what's going on. Ivy comes in the story just to help us a little bit, but that's it. Astra comes in out of nowhere to attack us, and that's it. Like, what the fuck? Mitsurugi, it's old now, but it doesn't matter. He's still kicking. Look at this. It's like a fucking Samurai Jack season 4 shit. But yeah, man, like everything comes back. Boulder has like a spider thing. Overall, because we got to go soon. We've been talking a lot here. I think we can say I can give this game a 6. It improves a lot in everything, but the story just destroys it a lot. In fact, I'm going to give it a 5. My bad. I'm going to give SoulCalibur 5 a 5 out of 10 just because of the story and the lack of knowledge for the characters on intros and outros, right? There's no intros and outros. They should have done something like Tekken, you know? Tekken 5, prologue and an ending. That's it. That's all we need, you know? But yeah, overall, I give this one a tier. For me, it's a C-.
All right, so there's gonna be another controversial one, but I'm going to give this a B tier. And let me explain before anyone gets mad at me. So Calibur 5 is possibly one of those games where okay, Calibur 3, it was amazing. Calibur 4, oh, it flopped. But then Calibur 5,
like a little bit up.
It's a little bit up. Basically, not only that they redone character creation, like we're talking about a brand new system. Like is that the tops are no longer connected to each other. Like it's basically just you got the undershirt, you got the overshirt, and you got the armor plate / jacket. Yep. And it's same thing with the bottoms. Basically, you can do
so
makeup
much good stuff
on
though.
Character. Yeah,
I get it. You know what? I'll go for a B2. Yeah, you're right. I think it does save a little bit too when it comes to the what it brings to the table. Of course, now B- because I'm just so pissed that they failed. They take out so many cool characters. They plan on doing DLC. They failed, and they gave us just Dampierre. You know what I'm talking about? Like they missed a lot of things here that they should have not missed. And I get it. You know, you want to save up for the next game. They doing the same thing with SoulCalibur 6, but it's okay, fine. I get it. You know, but yeah, I think I will go for a B tier. I think I understand what you're saying. You're yeah.
What else was there? There's also like you can do. I think I can go into detail of character creation all day, but not to mention gameplay is faster. Story on the other hand, just do in-game cutscenes and fix whoever wrote the script to Calibur 5. Like who decided it's like, oh, the brother loves their sister. I'm like, my God, this is not Alabama, first and foremost. Like, what the heck is this mess? Okay, what else is there? Well, same thing with like there are other things such as quick play, which is the reason why a lot of people okay.
Well, it's called quick battle.
Oh, okay. Quick battle, which reason why a lot of us are Love 99 in the first place. There's also the fact that even their like character creations are also unlockables that you can actually go for. Like for example, you have like special hit effects that you can actually go for just by just looking up the guide, and it's like, okay, this level unlocks this level unlocks that, this level unlocks.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
it does bring a lot of character creation content too.
Critical Edges came. Well, see,
oh yeah,
Critical Edge came back, but it's in form of critical edges, and they will return as Calibur 6. Same thing was like, and came out. You can also customize your weapon. I'm just, and for those I cannot tolerate, I'm into character customization. slash character
Yeah,
creations.
they improved that a
Thus,
lot. They improved a lot. Change. You can change the eye now. Change the
mhm,
weapon colors. Change the hit effects. Change the aura. We also got this is it's a little bit different from 6, but we got the meters now. There's no critical finish. It's basically just fill up a meter and do like a movement with the joystick in R2. Now it's much more easier. In 6, it's like only R2, but back then it was like a little bit complicated. And if you do attacks with the R1, you can actually do Brave Edge moves, which I really miss. I really did enjoy it. Now well, technically they still are, but it's like in a soul charge, right?
mhm.
But back then it was only a move set with R2 press, and then it will give an extra attack and using the meter. So you will use the meter more instead of just using a full meter for this and time limit. Totally understandable, but I kind of prefer more the way SoulCalibur 5 did it when it comes to the gameplay mechanics. But yeah,
That is also true. Same thing with like the thing was like a lot of people will be like, "Oh man, SoulCalibur 5 didn't do that much." Like, okay, first and foremost, SoulCalibur 5 did more than what
did more.
SoulCalibur 4
Hmm.
can do in terms of like character
That's
creations.
true.
Same
I
thing.
totally
Same
agree.
thing with replayability. It has that.
Yep.
There's in
Soul
the form
Calibur 4
of like
doesn't
art.
have it. Soul Calibur 4,
That's
you're
not.
done and that's it. Soul Calibur 5,
Mm-hmm,
you keep on going, man, because online is amped up. Everybody's happy because at least the story sucked and everything sucked. But when it comes to online and features, they did a lot of cool
mm-hmm,
stuff too. That they hidden stuff throughout. If you there's different ways to unlock a certain character, not just leveling up. You know, you get points to level up your. There was like a level up system for you. You're level 90 or something like that because you've been playing a lot. You get points for fighting online, and the more points you get, the more stuff you unlock. Like it will say, you unlock a character feature. Do you know what I did? Oh, another thing that I didn't like, I want to mention,
mm-hmm,
the character versus character. It was like a card. Don't get me wrong, I do like the fact that we can change a picture, pose, but I kind of like seeing the character fully on the versus screen, before the
mm-hmm.
fight. And 6 and 5, like 6 fixed that by showing the card, then the character, which I appreciated. But in 5, it was only the picture, which kind of sucked for me a little bit. Although I
Mm.
probably would have get why. But yeah, sorry, we gotta cut it short a little bit. We're running out of time. Fucking,
Thank God.
we talking a lot of
But
shit. But yeah,
yeah, now it's time for the. Well, yeah, I'll probably give like a B tier because they fixed character creation and
yeah,
they
you know,
did like faster gameplay. That's basically
totally
about it.
agree. I will give you a B. I will go with a B as well. You're totally right. It makes sense. I was just a little bit mad because the whole story thing, but it's okay. But so yeah, like not as bad as a lot of people think. You should actually give it a shot on PlayStation 3.
Mhm,
But yeah, check that out. If you do ever get the chance to do it. So we're gonna skip 6. We can talk about 6 a little bit short.
mhm,
They brought new stuff that we missed, like character
mhm,
story for like a better story for the main story, and then we got a
mhm.
list of original characters doing their own story, including DLC, except Tubi for some reason. But yeah, we got story mode for each character, including DLC and guests, and that was a cool addition. And then what else can I say? The Libra of Souls mode, which is kind of like a Chronicles of the
It's
Sword.
it's
It
not
was
bad.
it's not a Chronicles of the Sword. I really wish they would have done that better than what they did. But what we had was not bad. We just explore, collect coins, talk with people, make decisions. We got bad and a good ending, so that brings a little bit of 3 into the table, which I do appreciate
Mhm,
a lot. New characters come in, Adswell, the magician. That was my favorite character as soon as I got to see the game. Sasalamel is back. Taki is back. Cassandra is back eventually in the DLCs. Sophia is back. A lot of characters that were missing are back, and we're happy to see Killick with the stick, Xianghua with the sword. Soul Calibur 6, they decided to reboot the whole thing, make the other
mhm.
games canon, but this is Soul Calibur 2, 3 ish in between, 2.5
Except both.
in another universe. So a lot of things
Mhm.
can happen now. I'm glad that Algo is mentioned in Easter egg, so I think he's gonna be in the future games. I hope so because he's a really cool character. One of the best designs that everybody there in the development has done. Whoever created Algol and the mechanics of him, it was just insane because it's a very badass fighting style. It's basically wizardry. And now that 6 let us use characters, specific unique characters creations. Like, for example, I thought we would not be able to use Tubi because she's a guest character, just like other games. This time we got it. We got the chance to use other guest characters' weapons, which is cool. We never get to do that. We could never have created a character with Ezio Auditore's weapons because, again, he's himself. We couldn't use lightsabers. So in here, they let us give a little bit of freedom. So I was expecting Algol so we can get more of that, but sadly, no. So this is basically like a restart of SoulCalibur. Everything comes back to the old ways, but different scenarios, different challenges. Taki comes back again, better than ever, of course. We got the art style fully done here. Amazing concept. Baldo comes back. Everybody, just everybody. From the original game, Siegfried, Nightmare, everybody just is here. So everybody's happy. We got new story modes. We got better modes. We got some tournament sections with lobbies where you can actually come in and chat with people and then fight each other one-on-one. We got it cool. The lobbies are back from 5, but in a way less better. But then they improved it throughout the time. They didn't have text chat. Now it does. But yeah. So far, SoulCalibur 6 did a great improvement. Not went too crazy to add crazy stuff. Just added what people wanted. This is SoulCalibur 6 was a fan service to the fans to say, hey, we're sorry about 5. Here's SoulCalibur 6. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. Basically, it feels like an apology to the fans. So, story-wise, everything, I really did enjoy this game. Now, when it comes to finishing it, I think they needed to do a little bit extra. They needed to add a little bit more when it comes to DLC, another season pass, and more expansion to the story, which they did. They did, but I wanted, add more content to it, and then finalize it with a last season 3 pass to then do the SoulCalibur 7 development. But it's okay. You want to save money, completely understand. I hope we get good then in 7, because SoulCalibur 7 is going to be awesome, and I hope it comes anytime soon. So, in a quick way, I can say SoulCalibur 6 for me, the only thing that I hated was Kilik malfested, because the bars here, you can use Soul Charge to Super Saiyan mode, and he has unlimited. But and the sacrifice is that he loses health, doesn't lose that much. It's a very powerful over broken stuff. They did a lot of patches over the time, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna get too much into detail of 6 because it's a game that you can actually get down. But I can say that it needed more stuff to be added, in my opinion. When it comes to one more pack for me would have been nice. Character creation, it's the same as 5, but with less items. What's up with that? Why did you just copy and paste? You know what I mean? It's not much of a difference from 3 to 4 in SoulCalibur universe. So they should have added more cool stuff like that. They didn't add the SoulCalibur 2 Nightmare helmet back. Stuff like that. The halo, it used to glow like amazing. Now it doesn't glow. It's just like a metal. You know what I mean? So they kind of fucked up the textures and add additions to it. Not too many assets compared to 5. And we're talking guest DLC, the Pac-Man stuff, Klonoa. No, not that. I'm talking about for real. There was much more better clothing in 5 than here. So I could say that for me, this game is good in a lot of stuff and a little bit of bad stuff, which is a big applaud because we want more of good than bad, right? So yeah. I can go for this. I could give this a tier. For me, this is an A. I consider it well done.
I will also give it an A tier.
Yeah, Yoshimitsu was a cool character, better done, better abilities. Look at this, man. This is just insane. The concept was better. The graphics were better done. The costumes for the characters, the Inferno came back, really nostalgic. I don't know why they banned it in local. I get it on online, but local, why they have to? Well, that they didn't ban it on. No, my bad. Casual. Why did they ban it on casual? It's casual. It's not, it's not rank. But whatever. Yeah. Basically, the whole thing is here. The whole caboodle. We're starting again. That's what they're doing. We apologize for 5. We'll start again in another universe. Let's make that canon so that 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 don't suffer. For the fans don't suffer. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, I give this one an A.
And yeah, I'll also give it a well, because for the most part, it was like it's been a while since we had like a new SoulCalibur game, and it's like, okay,
That's
yeah,
now
it's
new.
actually pretty cool.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks, because like for the most part, it's like, oh, we have this, something such, and it's like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
down with that. This is
and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why it needed a little bit more because now it's like, okay, so yeah, what now? It
mhm.
fell short. Not as short as four, I'll give you that, but it fell shorter in my opinion. It had a lot of cool stuff to add, but for me, it was just not enough. After you're done with Libra and story, there's nothing else to do. The tournaments here are not that great compared to three and five. Um, well, five didn't have. I think it did have tournaments. It was just the ranking matches are better. They tend to be a little bit cheap. They added creation to the rank match, which is a no-no. They shouldn't have done that because the height restrictions and stuff. But hey, oh, they added cool stuff too. Like this time, instead of adding a skin to it, it's not a skin to set on your character. It's a race. So now you get
Mhm.
Stone Monster, Android. You get Lizard Man. There's no Lizard Man here. Aeon is gone, but you can create your own lizard, which is fair. There's Malfested, like almost, and then like Super Malfested, and then like Ultimate Malfested, like Nightmare Soul Calibur 4.
Mhm.
Basically, second skin. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things added to the creation when it comes to features, but adding the same assets, they should have just copy and pasted and added new ones. I don't know why they stuck with these, and that's it. So it felt short in some ways, but it was still enough to say, hey, it's a good game you know so I can
Mhm.
consider it being an A. For me, I can forgive it. I would have given it a B, but I give it an A because I think this is a pardon for the flop that was Soul Calibur 5 when it comes to the story. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This time they did it right. I think this story was more engaging, much more awesome, much more emotional. And most part with the Grow story, the new character, which is he has like a dual sword that can mix together. That's cool. But yeah, so I will give it an A.
Mhm.
All right. So yeah, we've been here a long time. I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know if people are gonna watch this, but hey, if you made it here, I got a surprise for you too, Drift, because I haven't told you yet. You're not gonna get too excited because it's much more for some people, but I can gladly say, right, as a reward for staying this long into the podcast, right, um, I can finally say that we officially can play Soul Calibur. So yeah, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for sticking with me tonight. Thank you for going through all this. I hope you have a long. We got 3 hours here. This is a full on long podcast talking about SoulCalibur games. We missed a few. We got the SoulCalibur for Wii, which is SoulCalibur Legends. It's an RPG separate from the game. We got SoulCalibur Lost Source, which was a free to play, temporary free to play game on PlayStation 3.
I
Yeah.
forgot that game exists.
Yeah. Then we got a mobile game on the iPhone, like a card game, strategy game, whatever. Didn't much get into those. I did get into Lost Swords. It's cool. The only thing cool that I like about that one is because one, it's free in a way. It's a gacha game. It was a gacha game, but it was free, and nonetheless. And we get to see Cassandra and Taki in SoulCalibur 5, which we couldn't do it because they're not there. And so that was fine. Hey, look, we got to see Taki, how she looks in SoulCalibur 5. Yay. So that's cool, in a way. So yeah, anyways, it was a Natsu reskin, but hey, Natsu was a reskin of Taki, so she deserves that. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I'm sorry this was so long, and I promise to keep it shorter on the other ones, unless you like this long podcast, because I've seen people who have done 3 hours and 40 minutes of podcast, and I stick through all the way hearing it. So I don't know about you guys, but I am enjoying this, and I'm enjoying this podcast. So I promise you there will be more topics to come. Yes, we might get more into detail for other SoulCalibur games that we missed in another episode. But for now, we got to say goodnight, because I think I only got like 3 hours of sleep to go to work now. But hey, all for the sake of art. The content creator sacrifices. Anyways, anything social media, links down below. Subscribe to God Drifter, links down below as well. And social media at God Drifter. Instagram is God Drifter _ something, right?
It's just Godric _. That's basically
all right.
it.
Yeah. So Instagram is God Drifter _ So just add an underscore to that. And yeah. What I was gonna say is just subscribe, leave a like, share, hit that bell icon so you will not miss any of my beautiful content. And I'm gonna go sleep now. Thank you for joining me on episode 2 of Late Night Podcast SoulCalibur topic. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.